Excuse me. Soon to be married. Yes.
But it's like, when you're of a certain age, if you're still in your 20s, you might not have mastered all of the, keep your car clean part. That stuff might not have come around yet. But Rob, oh man.
He is married.
I know, but he wasn't for a while, right?
Well, that's how that works.
He would have developed some habits by then. I don't think I've ever been in Rob's car.
Nope.
I'm going to guess Mac's car is the messiest.
Wow. I think just throw him under the bus.
He's right there.
Just throw him under the bus.
I'm not giving him a chance not to defend himself.
Hold on. I'm going to go tell him now because
Mac already walked out. Yeah, Mac walked out.
I'm sorry. I thought he was still in there. Of the 3 producers, I think he has the messiest car. I didn't say it was a trash heap.
Drew's is a newer car for him, so he hasn't had time to establish much in that vehicle.
Yeah.
I would say.
But I think he's also talked about it.
I've been in Dusty's car. His isn't that bad.
Okay. You've been in mine. We've covered that our cars are okay. Remember the host part? We got through that fairly easily.
Yeah.
It was just a matter now. I was just trying to give it to the producers.
We can
talk real stuff.
The J South Lantosers text line is open 913-586-7965. You guys can hit us up there, and maybe we'll revisit this conversation. Drew has abandoned the show altogether now.
That's fine.
To go discuss this with Mac. Let's talk about Rashee Rice a little bit, though, shall we? And as I say that, Mac's running in here. He's very upset with you, actually. Very upset. He doesn't want any more. He doesn't. Yeah, he definitely. This was a quick pace. A quick pace for Mac as he's trying to
unravel his headphones.
He is. Yeah. He already was packed up for the day, and look what you've done to him.
I didn't.
You know what?
I was just taking a guess.
I started to react kind of poorly and with anger, and then I was like, yeah, I guess I kind of get it. That makes sense. Yeah, that's a fair thought.
There's some logic in what I'm saying here.
Yes.
You're the youngest person. Sometimes it takes a little while to develop your cleaning habits.
Probably the worst car.
Yeah, right. So maybe you got some tacks up in the liner. Do people still do that? That's the way we did our cheap cars. Like when the liner would come off of the top. Oh, I'm sorry, you were never poor. My bad. When your liner comes off your car, you got to pin the thing back up so it doesn't fall down. That adhesive gets weak.
I will say, not a lot of litter or whatever in my car, but
that's good.
I need a vacuum. It's dirty.
Okay. Need a vacuum, that's okay. Not a lot of trash, that's good.
Not a lot of trash. No. I'm good at that.
So if the one thing we know, it's that Carrington has the dirtiest car in the building.
There it is.
Drew's established that already, so we've got at least that covered.
That is very true. All right, let's talk about Rashee Rice a little bit, though. The news Friday afternoon, we haven't had a chance to discuss it. That is Rice not getting suspended for this upcoming season. The NFL will not discipline him over the abuse allegations that were out there. Quote, they have not engaged in contact, or he has not engaged in conduct that violates the personal conduct policy. The NFL also said its investigation into the accusations. I cannot talk today. That's a bad start. Rice's former girlfriend, it is also closed when it comes to those accusations. So the Chiefs, 3 weeks before the draft, get some great news in terms of the football side of things for how they can proceed moving forward. Now, we'll talk draft, and does this change your draft plan? Also, does it mean you should look into trading Rashee Rice? I know that was kind of the thought from some people over the weekend that I was talking to. I don't think the trade makes any sense, so we can get to that. But as far as Kansas City's plan for the offseason, the only wide receiver they had signed is Tyquan Thornton. So they were not super aggressive in free agency to go get a wide receiver to begin with, Cody.
Nope, they weren't.
Now we get this news. Maybe the Chiefs had some insight on that. This is where it was trending. And it's a contract year for Rice. I actually think from a pure performance standpoint, you're
likely to get the best Rice.
I think you're going to get the best season for Rashee Rice. I really do in 26.
So it's obviously good news from a team perspective. I'm not going to try to speculate on what came up in their investigation, although I am shocked that they cleared it this soon, knowing how long the NFL sometimes takes in these.
Yeah.
So the timing of all of this is excellent news for the Chiefs, because now they can know everything they need to know before they make a single other free agent signing, before they do anything in the NFL draft, before they, before they get to the offseason conditioning. They know week 1 next year, assuming health, Rashee Rice is available and is available for 17 games in a row. Unlike the previous 2 seasons combined, they might actually get a full year out of Rashee Rice. So from a team perspective, it's hard to not imagine it's not good news. I still have some questions about, trusting him, and we can talk about that. But it does explain some of their offseason stuff where you and I sat around here, Golden, at some point, we're like, without Rashee Rice, it's the worst wide receiver unit maybe in the league. Where you're like, Xavier Worthy is your 1, Thornton is your 2. That's a problem if there is a suspension coming. Now you've got, I think when healthy, 1,000-yard guy in Rashee Rice. Like Worthy to this point hasn't proven to be more than 650 or 700 yards. You and I both think he's probably in for a better year this year. But let's say 1,000-yard guy, 700-yard guy, and Tyquan. Okay, at least it's a unit now. It's not one of the best in the league, but it's right in the middle. It's a league average wide receiver unit if Rashee Rice is available.
It was great news for the Chiefs for the 2026 season, but I don't know if the thought will quickly shift if he has the year you and I are talking about, but I still have zero interest in signing Rashee Rice to a long-term contract extension, even though I now know there is not a suspension coming. But I also recognize how fans act, and we are all guilty of this to a certain extent, which is if he goes out and has a career year, Cody, and he's 1,250, 8 touchdowns, top 15 type of wide receiver season, suddenly, next January, people say, well, actually, you know what? And I'm just telling you, as we sit on April 6th, 2026, I don't trust the guy still long-term. So I'm not saying people can't change and people can correct their life and everything like that. I still don't trust this individual, though, to go and hand out a 4-year contract. It's one thing now entering a season where he's got everything on the line and has already had legal problems that I do really believe he will be fine heading into the season. I have more trust heading into this year than I probably have had in any other year for Rice
it's like
because everything's on the line.
Yeah. No, he's playing for a contract, and I think we all know that. But he's playing for, as you know, a huge contract. We got wide receivers out there who average 800 yards a season, making $25 million a year. So, it doesn't take much to enter the category of highly paid guy who gets a lot of money from some team in free agency if you can actually put even any kind of numbers together. I pointed out Wan'Dale Robinson a couple of times. His first 3 years in the league, 227 yards, 525, 699, and 1,014. Rashee Rice's rookie year is better than or just as good as any season Wan'Dale Robinson has ever put on paper because he had quite a bit more touchdowns that rookie year than Wan'Dale's 4 last year. And so if you look at just that alone, he's in for a huge payday if he can find a way to just be on the field and produce. Because Wan'Dale, as a reminder, got 4 for 80. I think it was 4 for 78, but same difference, around $20 million a year. And Rice, at his best, is certainly better than that. I'll just tell you right now, there's almost nothing he can do that's going to be pay him. He could have 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns this year, and I'm going to be leery of it.
I think there's a lot of Chiefs fans that'll shift their thinking, whatever they're feeling today, which might be, yeah, man, I wouldn't give him any money. I'm done. If he goes out and has that kind of season, I think in January people will come around and convince themselves that it'll be fine. I'm not saying everybody, but there will be a huge chunk of fans that shift because deep down they're going to look at the type of performance on the season.
I think it can even change the Chiefs' mind. I mean, if he goes out and he has a 1,300-yard season with double-digit touchdowns, you just don't get that all the time. So it's how do you say no to that? But
if it's anything under 1,000, the risk-reward ratio should be out the window.
Yeah. If he has 1,200 yards though, and he's a top 15 receiver with touchdowns as well, it's really hard to say no to that, even regardless of the situation of what he's been through.
I just my look, as I want to say it again, people can change, but what happens when all of a sudden you don't have everything to play for anymore? This year, and I know there's 4 months of the offseason left, but this year because of the financial implications, I actually think we're not going to be talking about an off-the-field problem heading into the season for Rice anymore. But once the contract is signed, once he's got all the money and he's back in Dallas and it's a normal offseason again and the legal stuff's behind him, do I trust the individual to not get in further trouble?
No,
and I personally don't. You can judge me for that, but I personally don't believe that's someone I would want to give that kind of money to.
There's a big part of because look, it's definitely good news for the Chiefs, and they definitely are a better wide receiver unit than I thought they were 2 weeks ago because of the availability of Rice. I still want them to get another wide receiver in the draft. I still want them to get maybe another wide receiver in free agency. These 3.
I'd still take a wide receiver at 9, Cody.
Still not, yeah.
If that's part of your plan already and you really like Carnell Tate or whoever. Now, we might find out when the draft's done, this wide receiver class the Chiefs were just not a big fan of. I don't know. Maybe it's all smokescreen, and maybe they don't really think any of these 3 or 4 wide receivers that could go in the first round are all that good. Well, that's the case, then look at defensive line or wherever.
Sure.
But if you really think Carnell Tate or Lemon, et cetera, are one of those special guys moving forward, Well, then the Rashee Rice situation by not getting suspended, to me, should not alter your draft pick decision at 9.
No, it shouldn't. I just think it, I don't think it will, but it is good to know that, let's just say, because at number 9, you really should, best player available really should start becoming like a part of the edict, just as long as it's not at a position of zero need. You should be thinking about it. So, if you think Mekhi Lemon or Carnell Tate, if you really do think that those are the best players available at 9, no, this should not stop you. For the same reason as before, the contract stuff we just talked about. I still want to find Patrick Mahomes wide receiver for the rest of his 30s, which requires drafting one soon and then being a second contract guy worthy of it. And I'm more likely to get that at 9, although wide receiver, admittedly, you can find that at 9, 29, 40, 74, not always, but sometimes you do find those guys. Like DK Metcalf was somebody's number 1 wide receiver for a while. Obviously, maybe not with one quarterback the entire time, but you can at least still get there. I was surprised the NFL made a decision this early.
Same.
I thought we'd be sitting in the draft and they'd either take a wide receiver or not. And you and I in June or July, right as training camp was going to start, we're going to have to be like, hey, any news going to come down on Rice? Do you think he'll play week 1? I'm surprised, by April, early
and
April, we knew.
I don't know if we'll ever have the answer to this. If the NFL said there was not sufficient evidence,
sure.
Okay, and fine.
That's not illegal,
Yeah, what we don't know is, was that because the victim didn't talk?
Don't know.
Was it because truly through the investigation? Again, I don't have the answer. I'm just saying there's not evidence for it. Could mean a million different things. It could be truly they didn't have the evidence, or
they're not police. They can't subpoena evidence.
Right, or the victim just said, actually, I'm not even going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened.
No, there's no way of knowing. This doesn't, in a court of law perspective, this changes nothing on the lawsuit ends. All it's saying is that the NFL's not going to do anything about it. Yep. And from Rashee Rice's case, that's all he cares. I mean, from the football case, that's what he cares about right now.
Oh, it's a huge win for him if we're just talking about his own personal situation, because as we acknowledged, he has a chance to make tens of millions of dollars if he stays clean moving forward.
If he has a massive season, the one Drew described, he could get $100 million this offseason from somebody. Now, then you enter the tag and trade category and everything else, and we can talk trade stuff later, but it does really, it's an interesting perspective, at least from where it is. Still surprised we got the news this early, but overall, the Chiefs need as much wide receiver help as they could get. Having Rice possibly available for the entire season is huge.
All right, let's talk some Royals baseball, though, man. Homestand, first one of the year in the books. Yesterday, they lose to the Brewers. Today, they are in Cleveland. And if you didn't see the news earlier this morning, I guess it's supposed to be miserably cold in Cleveland after
the game
today.
Would be in the 20s
so tonight's game is at 5:10, right here on 96.5 The Fan. Vern's On Deck show is at 4. But tomorrow is a day game now. Wednesday was already a day game. So they're playing games at noon tomorrow and Wednesday because it's supposed to be what did you say, 35 degrees?
I think they were saying the problem was if they had kept the game at the time it was Eastern, it would have been 22 degrees or something at first pitch.
Miserable.
And just be honest, baseball should not be played at 22 degrees. So tomorrow's high temperature is 35. So to be clear, it is still going to be very cold for the game in Cleveland at noon.
Good luck.
Kansas City time.
So the times have shifted. You can listen to the game right here on 96.5 The Fan tomorrow and Wednesday for day baseball. But one homestand in the books, and it's pretty clear 2 things have happened already. And yes, it's early. They're 4-5. We're 9 games in. This bullpen is struggling on the back end. Even yesterday, Urseg, they brought in to try to keep it a manageable game, and he struggled. And he ended up pitching 30+, so he's probably not available today for the Royals. And I get it. Look, Carlos Estevez needed to go on the IL. All right, the velocity was a problem, command a problem, also got hit in the foot. I get why they did that. But it goes back to, you step back to what we were discussing during spring training. And I know people are down on Carlos. They need him to get back, and they need him to be Carlos Estevez. Look what is happening to the bullpen right now. Steven Cruz got called up. He's not been any good. Lucas Urseg is someone you trust. He struggled. Matt Strahm yesterday couldn't find the strike zone at times. It was the bullpen is a problem right now for the Royals 9 games in.
I still think there's some talent there. Like you said, it's early, and I'm not writing off the whole unit. But a 4-5 start, considering what you have gotten out of your starting rotation, is annoying. And to say the very least annoying. Concerning, probably also in some regards, although just 9 games, because you should have more wins if you're starting pitching on aggregate, even if Chris Bubich got hit for, what he tagged for 3 runs, 4 runs, I guess, over 5 innings or whatever it was yesterday. They still, and this was the frustrating part, you were at the game yesterday, They get something going. Bottom of the order comes through. Vinny gets a hit. Michael Garcia gets a hit. They're right back in it. It's only a 1-run game. And then the bullpen immediately makes it so it's like, well, long odds now to win this baseball game again because they're just in trouble. And so that part stands out. And the fact that, look, at the truth right now, the offense is being carried by 7, 8, 9, 1. Like, I'm going to toss Michael Garcia in this because he is still hitting. He leads the team in RBI. But the 7, 8, 9 hitters are doing better than the 2, 3, 4 hitters. That is not normally a good way to operate your offense. You need Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino, and Salvador Perez to just hit better. Like, it's not like a mystery. Like, Bobby Witt Jr.'s got to play a lot better if they don't want to have, like, a mediocre April. They're not in danger of having a terrible April. But if you don't want to have some 500 April, their stars have got to be better.
It's a 9-game stretch that if it was in June, we wouldn't be focused in on as much. But this is the only 9. These are the only 9 games we have. And we all know, anybody that's followed the Royals, been a Royals fan, we all know that April has been a struggle for this franchise. And for a couple of these players, too. Vinny has been slow in April before. And unfortunately, right now, it's only April 6th. Right now, it's looking like that's going to happen again unless he heats up here over the next couple of weeks. And so long term, I don't think anybody's concerned about Bobby. I don't think anybody's concerned about Vinny. But to your point about this first month and trying to get off to a nice start, it is a little concerning right now. Like Jack Caglione has actually had a nice start to the season. Yesterday was one of his rougher days at the office.
A tough one.
Some of those plate appearances were brutal.
And he was showing the frustration from it too.
But how much did we talk about base running last year being a problem? And yesterday, I thought there were a couple instances that were just unacceptable. One, Tolbert comes in to pinch run. He gets caught stealing. It was brutal late in the game. And then Bobby gets sent home by Vance Wilson. Bobby took a really wide turn, and he was out, I don't know, by a mile, but he was out comfortably at home plate.
He's fast.
They would have had, there was one out. There would have been one out with runners on the corner with Salvi coming up. And instead, there were 2 outs. And nobody, only a runner on first, and then Salvi hits a fly ball, which was an out, but that would have been a sac fly, I think, for Bobby. And I know we can second guess stuff, but I thought there was some base running decisions that were poor yesterday by the Royals against Milwaukee.
So I know it feels higher than it really is because Tyler Tolbert was only caught stealing twice last year, and he's now been caught stealing once this year. But when your role on the roster is base stealer, I'll let you get caught at second. You can't get picked off, Like, it's one thing, the catcher makes a throw, and you get, gunned down going that direction. But you can't be caught leaning too fast. You're the fastest guy on the team. And that's saying something because Bobby Witt Jr. is on the team. So, like, if you are the predetermined major league base stealer, that one's unacceptable. They ran into some outs yesterday. After a decent start, the first couple of series, where you're like, oh, yeah, looks like the team's aggressive. But, yeah, Garcia got caught stealing. Bobby, and then the Tolbert one, where you're like, oh, and that one was devastating because, like he gets to second and the team, they were only down 1 right then. It felt like they were right in it. Of course, the bullpen later imploded, but this closers in non-closing situations like Ursak was in, I don't know why. They just pitch worse sometimes. And so there was just a lot of problems. Look, I'm not way down on them or anything. They've just played, it's sloppy baseball through the first 9 games. Feels like the starting pitching is the only thing that's not sloppy, and even that yesterday.
Bubic couldn't find the strike zone at times.
Yeah, he couldn't throw a strike, and I think maybe it was Lugo over the weekend who had a little bit of trouble with it. But overall, their starting pitching ERA is probably still top 5 in baseball, so I'm not going to complain about that.
Now you're back in division, and you get Cleveland tonight. It's Michael Wacha, by the way, who will make his first start since having an illness, or sick or whatever it was. And he'll go up against Tanner Bybee tonight. 5:10 first pitch right here on 96.5. The Fan. And it's early, but anytime you're playing a divisional team, especially a Guardians team that everybody looks at the roster when the season starts and says, okay, well, they're not as good as this team. They're maybe the 3rd best team in the Central this year. And then somehow the Guardians figure it out. And right now they're actually 6-4 and in first place, and Cody's able to shave because of it. So hopefully the Royals can get going against the Guardians, and Cody's not allowed to shave. Although it looks like maybe you didn't shave anyway. So
no, Wait, are they? Gosh,
they're not in first. The Guardians would be in first place.
If the Royals win today, what would happen?
Well, no, because the Guardians would be 6-5. The Royals would be 5-6.
Okay, so I can still shave tonight. I better get
can.
that one in. I better get a shave in before they sweep the Guardians, and then we're having a different conversation. It is weird to see no home runs from Jack Caglione, Bobby Witt Jr., and Vinny Pasquantino. These are all guys that we think have 30 home run potential, and 9 games in, no one's been able to get the ball over the wall. I will say, 25 degrees tomorrow does not seem like the optimal home run conditions. So tomorrow might be a bit rocky. We'll see. But at least, I don't know, maybe tonight or Wednesday, they'll finally get on the board. It was just I don't know, man. It was an interesting and annoying series, to say the least. The most interesting that happened in baseball over the weekend, by the way, was Joe Adell. I assume you saw, like, I wasn't watching the Angels game live, but the second you see Jeff Passan send out Joe Adell robs his third home run of the game, I'm like, I'm sorry, excuse me? What now? He rubbed 3 home runs in one game?
Unsightly numbers to start the year. No balls and 1 strike. There's a drive out to right from Raleigh. Adell's back near the wall. He leaps, and he caught it! Joe Adell robs Raleigh of what would have been his first home run this year. There's a drive to right. Adell is back. He's at the wall. He leaps up. He got another one! Joe Adell, what a night! Now here's Crawford with a fly ball to right toward the corner. It's Joe Adell again near the foul pole. Leaping up! Did he catch it again? He fell into the crowd, so it's a home run. They called him out. He did it again.
3 times Joe Adell, and the last one resulted in an all-time photo.
Yeah, just standing inside
holding the glove
stands.
up in the stands. A fan took the photo from the angle behind him. It was unbelievable. And like you said, it's not like we were following the Angels this weekend, but you see that come across. You're like, wait a second, how did that happen in a 1-0 game? Joe Adell was once one of the top prospects in all of baseball. Yeah. Now, he's a big leaguer. He's not a complete bust, but he has not turned out to be the type of player the Angels thought necessarily he would be, but he is a starting outfielder for them. And that's just crazy. I mean, to have 1 home run robbed is unbelievable athleticism. 3 times in one game. And if you're the Mariners, right, who they were playing, you're going to be like, what the hell? What do we got to do here? This is ridiculous.
Like, well, I think it's especially big because, it's especially impressive because of the 1-0 part that you said. Like, they won the game 1-0. He doesn't rob one of those home runs. They can lose the game. Like, that's it, just one of them. And he robbed all 3? Look, that's going to keep him employed for a little while. He's still not hitting very well. He's never hit very well in his major league career. Here's one of the names that got mentioned around the trade deadline last year for the Royals, as you remember, because it was like, you know what? If you don't have anybody who can hit, why not take a chance on a, former top prospect in all of baseball and find out whether or not you can help him unlock the bat or the potential in the bat. But that's still just an awesome moment. Watching him, and then to have the third one send him into the stands, like you pointed out, and he just standing there with the ball in his glove. That's crazy.
That's right out of a movie. Like that whole scene at that point is right out of a movie.
If they put that in a movie, you'd be like a little like if in Rookie of the Year, in order for him to save his game, some guy robbed 3 home runs in a game. You're like a bit rich. 2 would have done it, right? You'd have been like maybe just the one. Like Griffey gets it in Little Big League. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to rob 3 home runs in the game to get the point across. It almost feels like superficial in some way or ridiculous, but kudos to Joe Adell.
Yeah, thinking of home runs, don't forget this year we've partnered with KCUC, who is donating $50 to the Prostate Cancer Foundation for every home run the boys in blue hit this season. So 1 in 8 men will face prostate cancer. Early detection saves lives, and at KCUC, Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team, you see the best in KC. Scheduled today at KCUC.com. Up next, we got a national title game tonight in Indianapolis, and one team got embarrassed on Saturday night. We'll discuss that next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Call Hamilton today for our $79 mainline drain cleaning special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
License number 2025-11121. Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Future therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
It's been a long, grueling season and an exciting tournament, but we are finally here. The final college basketball game of the season is here. It's tonight, and FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost. You can build a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payoff or try live betting and jump in after the tip. Best of all, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. That's FanDuel.com/local to claim your first profit boost and keep the action going from now until the championship game coming up later tonight. Take advantage of the FanDuel College Basketball Profit Boost to build a parlay or use it with live betting after the tip-off during tonight's championship affair. And remember, go to FanDuel.com/local to get started. It's FanDuel. Play your game on America's #1 sportsbook app and the official sportsbook here at 96.5 The Fan. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issue is novel drawable profit book token. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Warmer weather, longer days, and a juicy steak sizzling on the fire. Ah, smells like grilling season is here. Stock up and save big this Friday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. Choose bacon-wrapped chicken grillers for $3.99 each. Marinated chicken breasts, $1.99. Thick-cut pork chops, 3 for $5. And specialty brats, just 8 for $10. Don't forget your favorite marinade, rubs, and sauces, and fire up the grill this Friday through Sunday, only at Hy-Vee.
Hy-Vee makes our life easier every single day. Not only do they have great quality customer service and value every single day at Hy-Vee, they help us out and they take the pressure of shopping off our plate. We've got our Perks Plus membership. We upgraded from the regular Hy-Vee Perks membership because with Perks Plus, we get free grocery delivery or express pickup, plus even more exclusive benefits and savings like fuel saver deals all day long. So enroll today at Hy-Vee.com/perks. Only at Hy-Vee.
At Telly Tire, when it comes to car problems, we've heard it all. From tires to timing belts to faulty air conditioning. Ooh. At Telly Tire and Auto Centers, we've been fixing problems like these and customers' bad days for over 80 years. So relax and take it to Telly. Schedule your service at TellyTire.com.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Royals coverage on The Fan, sponsored by Salvation Army Kick Hunger Civic Lunch on May 7th. Get ready to kick off a summer of soccer in Kansas City while fighting hunger. Join the Salvation Army for the Kick Hunger Civic Lunch 2026 May 7th. Score big for local families in need. Grab your tickets or table today at kickhungerkc.com. That's kickhungerkc.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, just getting started on a Monday. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get into some more NFL, including what a former Chiefs offensive lineman had to say about Andy Reid and his handling maybe of the offense moving forward. And certainly everybody looking at what changes might happen based off of last season offensively. We'll get to that in just a bit. Jay Southland Tow Service text line up and running 913-586-7965. Tonight, guys, we will have a new national champion crowned in college basketball, of course. We can discuss how we think tonight's going to go in a second, Michigan and UConn, but we do have to back up to Saturday for a second. We were all excited for the matchups in Illinois and UConn and Arizona, Michigan. That was the big showcase and maybe some of the biggest buildup for one individual national semifinal we've had in quite some time. And at least in the Arizona-Michigan case, let's start with that one, the late one. What a shock, I'll be honest. Like, Michigan we knew is damn good. Arizona, we all thought was maybe the best team in the country heading into the tournament. We all had them winning the national title. I was just shocked by how much of an ass whooping it was by Michigan. They played amazing. And yes, Arizona did not have their best stuff either, but that was unbelievable. Yeah, that was an unbelievable performance by Michigan. And it's not like Yaz was just, was amazing.
No.
Right? He got hurt, Yaxel, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
but it didn't, that didn't end up being the notion at all. They got run out of the building. That was a shocking result. Like, neither game was close. The other one was essentially 10 points UConn's way, a huge chunk of the game. And so we can talk more about what they've been able to accomplish under Dan Hurley here in just a minute. Yeah, but sure. But Michigan, Arizona, Gold, we sat here on the show on Friday and I genuinely meant it. I thought, oh man, this has a chance to be a classic. Half of the Elite Eight games we got were really good. And then I'm like, okay, Michigan, Arizona feels like a de facto national championship game. Let's see these two teams duel it out in a heavyweight fight. Nothing. They got their ass kicked. And an embarrassing fact to the point that even in the 15 minutes to go in the second half, you're like, the hell do I even keep watching?
It was non-watchable, really.
Yeah, what the hell do I even keep watching this for? Just to watch one team beat up on the other one for the next 15 minutes of game time? You might as well call this one now. It's over. I was surprised. It makes it hard to not want to pick Michigan to win tonight, thinking, if they can do that to Arizona, what could happen? But then
college basketball's weird, man.
And UConn is weird, man. At no point this season did I think UConn possessed the best team in college basketball. I thought they were a very good team, consistently have been a very good team. Doesn't matter. They just beat up the teams that they got to beat. So they got to take on Michigan. Hard to not imagine they're going to win the title somehow anyway. It's like instinct, and the point spread's 7.5, 8.5? It likes Michigan pretty heavily. But it's like, do I really bet against UConn in a national championship game, knowing that Dan Hurley is 18-1 in his last 4 tournaments?
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
He is pacing toward being in the discussion with, yes, John Wooden if he wins tonight. I'm not ready to say he's overtaking that. And
do you think John Wooden's the GOAT then?
I tend to. Now we can get into the argument about how do we compare eras, and it's very difficult to do.
Yeah, it is.
And so I think you probably have to just separate the two. But what Dan Hurley is doing is something we haven't seen since that kind of run. If they win tonight and upset Michigan. And I'm kind of with you where it's hard not to pick Michigan after what we just saw, but it would also not be shocking at all if suddenly Michigan just can't make a bucket tonight, because that's just what happens sometimes. And after they have, I mean, Michigan played, I know, Drew, we were texting, you mentioned they beat Gonzaga by 40 earlier in the year.
They beat a lot of people by 30.
But that performance against that quality team of Arizona, I mean, that was a performance that they have not played that high quality of basketball all year because of the opponent. As far as I'm concerned, I understand they have beat teams by 30 plus all year, but not a team like Arizona.
Yeah, but I think it was an 18-point game. They beat Gonzaga by 40. That was the same. That was the same level of play. Like they were making everything. That was a healthy Gonzaga too, who was a 3 seed in this tournament. So I think also it'll be interesting. Yaxel Lindeborg, MCL sprain. Yeah. Solo Ball was in a boot yesterday because he sprained his ankle. It'll be interesting to see that standpoint. UConn's best bet is if they control the pace of the game. If Michigan's able to run up and down the floor, I don't know if it'll be as bad as the Arizona game was, but I think Michigan covers the spread. If UConn can control the pace, then they will be in the game till the end, just like they were in the Duke game. Michigan lost to Duke because Duke controlled the pace of that game, and it was a low-scoring game. It was ugly. I think UConn's going to have to make the game a little ugly if they want to win the game, because Michigan, I think, is the only team ever to score 90-plus in their first 5 games as well.
Yeah.
Like they're doing some historically great stuff where if they win the title, this team is up there with one of the best that we've ever seen in an NCAA tournament in terms of what they're doing. Because we've never seen it before.
Look, they've been a great team all year. It's not like...
Yes.
I just thought these are the 2 best teams who are going to battle out to be the 2 best teams.
That's what we all thought.
And instead, it was just
a crappy
like
game.
Swift kick to the ass and said, well, it's nice to see you.
Jaron Bradley got in foul trouble early, and he's their leader. And at that point, the flow was all in Michigan's favor. The pace, everything. It didn't matter. Yaxel Lindeborg was out.
To your point on the ugly part of the game, I will say UConn did a great job of that against Illinois. Illinois looked uncomfortable a huge chunk of the first half of that game. UConn wasn't even shooting all that well in the first half of the game. They had that stretch from like minute 15 to like 5 of the first half where shots were there, but they weren't hitting anything. And Illinois just never looked comfortable.
And UConn didn't have a single turnover until 13 minutes left to go in the game. They were incredibly good at taking care of the ball. They're going to have to do it again tonight if they want to beat Michigan.
The reason why they got a shot tonight is because of Dan Hurley. Like, I know he's polarizing. We've talked about his mentality, and he is a bit of a psycho. There's no doubt about it. But you went through his record. He has the experience in the Final Four in these big moments, and he knows how to coach in the NCAA tournament. He knows how to push all the right buttons come tournament time. And however it is with motivation and dangling the carrot in front of his guys in the early part of the tournament, about getting to a regional final, getting to the Final Four. He knows how to get it done when it's the biggest moment. And that's why we are talking about him as one of the great coaches in basketball history. Yes, I know that's something that probably 3 years ago you never would have said, but he is one of the great coaches we've seen in this game ever. And right now, there's no doubt he's at the top of the game.
If he wins, he's definitely the best coach in college basketball. It'd be kind of stupid to even have an argument in the show. Be like, no, I think it's self. Like, shut up. It's not.
Yeah, it's Hurley.
It's not even like an argument. It's not like a knock on the other guys. It's just clearly Hurley. If he wins tonight, I think the only coach you can make an argument for is then Wooden. I think he then goes past Krzyzewski for sure, or any of the other guys.
It is interesting because people consider Coach K the GOAT, I think.
Like, he's got the most tournament wins in NCAA history. He's got the most Final Fours in NCAA history.
Yeah, I think that
13 of them. So, there's a reason why Krzyzewski ends up getting the recognition.
The whole era thing is interesting, though, because if you look at what Coach K's done, he went back-to-back. Dan Hurley's already done that. If Dan Hurley wins tonight, he'll have done something Coach K never did, and that is win 3 tournaments, three national titles in 4 seasons.
And K had 5, right, overall?
Sorry?
Coach K has 5 overall?
Yes.
And this would be 4 for Hurley?
But
no, 3.
3. But it'd be 3 and 4 years, which Coach K never did. And Coach K went back-to-back. Dan Hurley already went back-to-back. And Dan Hurley's doing it with less talent than Coach K had in his time at Duke. I think that's also the part that's getting shuffled and thrown under the rug or forgotten about is the best recruit that Dan Hurley's had is Stephon Castle. Incredible player, top 10 recruit, top 5 pick. He's great. But it's not Zion, RJ Barrett, Cooper Flagg. I know that John Shire was coaching Cooper Flagg, but Coach K had a role in all that stuff anyways. But it's like from that standpoint, Dan Hurley's not getting number 1 recruit in the country, number 1 overall draft pick players, and he's developing players. Like Alex Caravan's a true senior. Terrence Reed's been there a little bit. Donovan Clingan wasn't a one and done. Like he's doing it a little bit differently, and the fact that he's been able to do it in this era as well is just, it signifies that no matter what attitude he has, essentially, like players want to play for him. They know they're going to get better because of him, and they just get better in this tournament. I think he said during the Big East tournament, they lost in the semis, or they lost to St. John's. They got be good, and he was like, "Our team's built to play. If you know us, our team's not built to be good in the regular season or in the Big East tournament. We're built to be good in March."
He only got there in
the NCAA tournament.
He only got there in 2018. I mean, it's like
he came over from Rhode Island.
And he took Rhode Island to a couple of tournaments. I can't imagine.
Rhode Island was good with.
Yeah,
but in their school's history, how many times have they made the tournament?
Yeah, he's. I mean, he is absolutely in that conversation now. I mean, we can debate.
Yeah.
But he is definitely undeniably in that conversation.
All time,
and,
absolutely.
I think it was. Was it USA Today? Somebody had the headline over the weekend. I saw a story. They're basically, and I thought it was fitting. They're like, Dan Hurley, the most complicated man in American sports, and it's because we all agree he can coach, but also he's very unlikable at the same time, based on his whole demeanor and chaotic, psychotic behavior.
Did you guys see him?
He seems like a lunatic.
Did you guys see him and Dusty May did the headbutting thing?
No, I did not see that.
I'm glad that, one of the things too that
I don't think they should be making it like I genuinely, and this is not even a knock on him. I don't think physical contact with a ref should ever be allowed under any circumstance. I don't think it's something you should be joked about because
it's getting joked about.
But you open the possibility. I don't think physical contact with a ref should ever be allowed in any circumstance, and there should be punishment. Joking about it lessens the contact and makes it seem like it's not a big deal. To bump an ump, a referee, you shouldn't make physical contact with the people judging.
This is the thing, though. Dan Hurley's Draymond Green. Dan Hurley is Draymond Green because Draymond will get away with stuff that no other player can.
Yeah.
Dan Hurley gets away with stuff that no other coach can, but it's Dan Hurley, and he's got the reputation. That's why Draymond has a reputation. Draymond will get away with some stuff. Like, he'll get on the ref's face.
You're so nuts.
Yeah. Dan Hurley is Draymond Green.
This seems mild by comparison.
That's what has happened. It's so extreme that now, that by the way, that happens in a lot of things nowadays, but like, it just doesn't seem that bad anymore because like,
Correct.
we expect that person's a lunatic.
Correct.
So
you're like, it is bad, and we should still acknowledge it.
I do also
I don't know
think,
if you guys agree with the ref thing. It's just like, I don't understand. We shouldn't lessen it.
I mean, yeah, he shouldn't be contacting a ref. I think even Dan Hurley knows that, but as we know, he pushes the buttons. Did you guys see Dusty May was scouting? Well, he was scouting well into the first game of the day, and people were like, if they lose to Arizona, because he was not with the team showed up, and they showed Dusty May was already courtside taking notes on UConn, Illinois.
There's plans there for the other one?
I mean, which is what I said. But a lot of people are like, man, if they lose to Arizona, that man's out here until halftime of the first game just scouting. He wasn't even with the team.
Well, good news for him. He didn't have to worry about that after about the 8-minute mark of the first half.
Look, I hope Michigan wins tonight. They're 7.5-point favorite. That's a big number. That's a big number for, again, as much as we just discussed Dan Hurley and how great of a coach he is, to keep it close, give his team a shot to win. UConn, of course, has a shot. A lot of it is because of Dan Hurley tonight. But man, Michigan just looked absolutely unstoppable on Saturday.
Yeah, they really did. Let's switch gears a little bit to the Chiefs. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll talk more about Rashee Rice, but on the trade end and a debut for a Royal this season that did not go as planned, I would say, at least at that end. But Mitchell Schwartz had pointed something out last week that I thought was really interesting as we now that we know Rice is going to be a part of the offense and we're starting to look at what the Chiefs would do. I've had fears, just like anyone else, that the offense 2 years in a row looked very stagnant. So I went into Mitchell Schwartz was like, hey, if you're worried about the Chiefs not changing their offense, look back. Every 2 to 3 years, it does look different. And so I did go back and I was looking at the years and the way that they operated and their run pass ratios and the RPOs. And to Mitchell Schwartz's defense, they do. Every 2 to 3 years, depending on the stretch they're in, Andy Reid revamps in a way that makes them look different in a way than they haven't in a long time. My fear over it was the last 2 years looked identical. As in, I'm sure he's made some adjustment between those two, but you can't spot it to the naked eye. Same wide receivers, same running backs, same offensive line, same scheme, same plan, same results, right? Nothing changed from 1 year to the next. But when I go into the season where the only 3 wide receivers who are the same are Tyquan, who they stopped using, admittedly, for a huge chunk of it, Rice and Worthy and Kelsey to a part, but they're changing running backs, they're changing running backs coaches, they're changing wide receiver coaches. I do anticipate, even though it hasn't been in 2 years that they've changed, that the offensive scheme, at the very least, will not look the same as the previous 2 years. I don't think they're going to go about it the same way.
I mean, fundamentally, it's going to be the same because it is still Andy Reid's offense. I think it's more. It's more of the stuff within that. Yeah, it's. Do we see an increase under center? Do we see them approach RPOs differently? Those are the type of changes I think may or may not happen. Other than that, I mean, how he has his wide receivers approach their routes, and be part of the game plan and the designs and all that. Like, that is not going to change much. That's who Andy Reid is. But I'm with you on the personnel changing, which is, while I would have liked them to have interviewed other OC candidates as well, the fact of the matter is Eric Bieniemy is back, and so they changed OCs. They did change the wide receiver coach. They did change the running back coach. That is actually quite a bit of turnover for an offensive staff that has a head coach with the experience and the roots planted the way that Andy Reid does in Kansas City. So I'm kind of with you there. Do I get nervous when I hear comments, although Andy Reid's trying to play neutral on everything when he's talking about Kenneth Walker and Ken Walker being really good, from under center and from out of shotgun. And, we think he can be great at both. Like, does that make me a little nervous? Sure. But it's also March and now April, and there's no reason for Andy Reid publicly to be like, yeah, you know what? We're going under center way more in 2026. Like, there's no reason for him to say that publicly. It's going to be something we're going to have to watch the first month plus. And I say month plus because if Mahomes is out there, what limitations does he have? Does that cause him to alter it? Do they look differently offensively in November when Mahomes is even further removed from the ACL? Are they going to try to protect him a bunch early? Is he going to start week 1? These are all questions we don't have the answer to yet. Some might be clear by the time we get to training camp.
I do think that there's some real thought that the offense could look a little bit different as time goes on. But I honestly don't think that you pay Kenneth Walker the kind of money you pay without thinking there's at least going to be a slight change in the run attack and the run emphasis inside of her doing it. As in, the RPO has less of an option and more of there's less options to not hand it off, I guess, is what I'm saying, than the previous iteration of it. But if you go back, he really does change. Like, I understand it's all West Coast based and there's some similar concepts. Nobody just tears up their whole offense and starts from scratch. But if you look at Sean McVay over the last 2 years and their insistence on using more tight ends and getting more into play action, it's all the same base, but they have fundamentally looked different from 2 years ago than they do now. I think Andy, just genuinely, I think they still got caught in a trap where they never got to see their plan 2 years ago, and they were still decided that plan would work. And when they got into a season where they won 6 games, it didn't. And so, like, I mentioned the Mitchell Schwartz thing because I was like, does it really change it that often? Because, like, it felt like there was a 4-year run when it was just the same Tyreek, Mahomes, Kelsey. Like, Kelsey doesn't
they're winning 14 games a year, 13 games a year,
Yeah, but even in those years, there was a shift. Because there was a shift from we're using nothing but Hill and Kelsey to the post-Hill era, to the then post-Hill era, where they were, like, getting into the Rashee Rice stuff, where that didn't look the same as the staff they had before with Kadarius Toney, and they were running it slightly different, and they were more downhill, and, like, they were just operating differently. So I expect the offense to look quite a bit different in just, by Andy Reid standards this season. And I'm still optimistic that they won't just stick to the same thing. I give Andy credit there, unless the only other thing we talk about is, unless he just got to the point where he's like, nah, I'm old and I don't want to, which I don't think is Andy Reid's just vibe, right? That's always a concern when a coach or player or whatever gets older. Like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Well, they hired Eric Bieniemy. There's only so much that can change. We all know from the discipline aspect of it what he's going to bring, and I do think the lazy route running is going to go away from when you have O'Shea and Eric Bieniemy involved. Like, this is one thing we were just talking about Rashee Rice, and we'll get back into Rice not being suspended in 10 minutes. Rashee Rice, he's going to be held to a much higher on-field standard as well than what he has been held in the past, and that's an Eric Bieniemy aspect. Do I think Eric Bieniemy is bringing a bunch of fresh new ideas? Honestly, no. Now,
maybe
did he learn something from being in Chicago with Ben Johnson? Sure. I just don't expect that they're just going to adapt a bunch of Eric Bieniemy's ideas now in 2026. I just don't believe that's how they're going to operate.
No, I don't.
The run game being better, this is why we said it's a great spot for Eric Bieniemy, because if the run game's better, he's going to get an immense amount of credit for it. But they also signed Ken Walker. They also, you know what I mean? Like But this is why we said it was a great spot for Eric Bieniemy. I mean, nobody's going to, if the offense stinks or is average again,
they're just going to blame Andy.
Of course. So it's a great scenario for Eric Bieniemy heading into 2026.
Because then it won't be Nagy it'll be several different versions of an offensive coordinator trying to run a similar plan. I just still really do think that there's going to be a slight change, I guess, based on what takes place here. So we'll see. I guess a little bit back on the college basketball, and a couple of Kansas players have entered the transfer portal just to keep everybody abreast of the situation. Bryson Tiller and, according to this, center Paul Mbaya have also planned to enter.
Their whole front court is going to be
not surprised. Not surprised.
Is anybody from the starting five going to be in the starting five next year?
Roster
Council, maybe?
Well, he's got to get eligibility if that's the case.
He's gonna try. I think.
I don't know if you can expect that. Yeah, I mean, it's the day and age we're in with NIL. You're going to have the financial end. You're also going to have potentially some playing time. We don't know who else Kansas might be planning on trying to get to come into the program, and we also know that there's a chance whether it's Flory or Bryson or any of these guys, they can all still come back. So I don't think it's a done deal. I'm not surprised at all that Tiller. Like, he would have been the no-brainer of all of them. Like, I actually thought there was a better chance at one point that after Flory tested last year, that Flory wouldn't be doing the testing the waters again, and yet he is. Bryson Tiller, I thought, was a no-doubt guy that's going to go check on his options elsewhere.
And see who's got space for him. But also, like, if you're Tiller, if Flory really does leave, you're...
Well, right. Things change quickly.
Yeah, you're... And same for Mbaya. It's like, hey, if you wanted some playing time, if Flory leaves, or Tiller and Flory leave... Well, then if you're Mbaya, it's like the world seems a little more open to you unless you're Kansas.
Mbaya is the interesting one.
And you think you can recruit somewhere else and get, improve even from there.
Because Mbaya is a lot more like Flory from rim protection, post, paint, presence.
And Tiller, I mean, look, he's very young. He was a freshman. He was a 5-star recruit. He clearly, there's still a lot of developing there. I mean, against St. John's, they had remember there were games in the Big 12 tournament too. They had to pull him off the floor. Like he just wasn't ready for the moment. Was that the KU Houston game we were at, Drew, and at the Big 12 tournament where he all of a sudden just got benched? Like they couldn't have him on the floor, Tiller. Yeah. So we'll see. I think eventually he's going to be a very, very good player, but he did not had the injury, I think, in the offseason, and it took him a while this year. He had the really good game against UNC that got him in the starting 5. And there's an argument that was actually ended up being a bad decision for Kansas.
It'll be interesting to see if he actually is back or not.
I will say, though, if he leaves, he seems prime for what Gold just said, though. To be one of the starting 5 for one of the 10 best teams in the country. You're like, damn. Yeah, that guy's definitely talented. And it would have been nice if he stuck around. But, like, the players get the freedom of choice now. And if he doesn't think he fits inside self-system, or the playing time's not going to be what he wants, or he just didn't like the fit... That
so many factors.
Like players leave and they're good other places. It happens all the time, is certainly at this rate. Because like even Drew's guy from Wisconsin, leading scorer for Wisconsin this year, is in the portal. You just don't know. All these guys now flirt with the draft, flirt with the portal, and then make decisions.
It's all business, man. It's all business. Usually it's the money end, even more than, unfortunately, even more than just the right fit. A lot of times it's who's writing the biggest check. And that's where a lot of these guys go.
I mean, they're saying for some of the top prospects might be 3-4 mil. They're asking for it.
I mean, good for them, but holy crap. I mean,
I still think the wildest thing about it that is like hard to conceptualize is, like everybody in this room, or most people like who went through the traditional college experience, let's just say, who went to school and lived in a dorm or shared like a flop house with essentially like their 4 frat buddies off campus a little. The idea of one of them having $4 million while trying to do that seems insane. And ripe for, I guess, disaster in some way. The idea that like a 21-year-old kid hit the Hawk with $4 million in his pocket. It's like, the hell kind of life.
There's also the security aspect of it too. I mean, unfortunately, that's not something that's had to be discussed too much. But yeah, there's definitely got to be, a little bit of security aspect if you know that some of these guys are worth that kind of money.
Missouri making $2 million, just hitting up Shakespeare's. It just seems weird. I don't know.
By the way, we'll get into some Chiefs draft discussion a little bit later on, thinking of potential money-making opportunities for some guys. We've got our draft coverage here on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Leavenworth PD, and the Salvation Army Civic Lunch. Up next, though, Rashee Rice not getting suspended. We discuss what it means for this upcoming season. But is there a scenario that Chiefs should consider about moving on from Rashee Rice before the draft? We'll get into that next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
The final college basketball game is tonight, and FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost. Build a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout, or try live betting and jump in after tip-off. And best of all, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. Just visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. That's FanDuel.com/local to claim your first profit boost and keep the action going from now to the big championship game tonight. Take advantage of the FanDuel College Basketball Profit Boost to build a parlay or use it with live betting after tip-off during tonight's championship game. Remember, go to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, play your game. FanDuel Sportsbook's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. No!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
Hi, I'm Carter.
And I'm Charlie. We'd like to share a quick story about a homeowner named Jack.
Jack had a home he needed to sell fast.
And Jack thought he had it all figured out.
So Jack talked to multiple cash buyers.
Jack chose the highest offer.
But the day before closing, guess what? The buyer backed out.
Leaving Jack with the moving truck all packed in the driveway and not sure what to do.
Jack learned the hard way that the highest offer isn't always the right offer.
Jack got suckered.
Make sure you aren't hung out to dry.
Call our dad at Rex Buys KC.
Our dad is local, he knows Kansas City, and he actually closes deals.
No repairs, no fees, no showings, no surprises.
Just a fair cash offer and a smooth process.
Now, don't be like Jack.
Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com.
Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time.
Hello, Kansas City. Bank of America, in partnership with Visa, invites you to a FIFA World Cup 26 watch party. Open an eligible Bank of America checking account in participating financial centers only for an opportunity to reserve 2 complimentary tickets while supplies last. Experience special musical guests, games, giveaways, food, and more, all at a legendary venue. Learn more at BofA.com/BofA Visa Watch Party. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 26. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Draft coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here or wherever you are, that's the benefit of blue.
What's up, KC? It's Matt Strom from the Kansas City Royals. Don't miss Vern's On Deck show 1 hour before first pitch right here on 96.5 The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get to the trash of the day here in 20 minutes. Don't forget, video stream is up and running on YouTube, Twitch, X, Facebook. You can watch the show there, interact in the chat. And, of course, the text line is always open, 913-586-7965. We started the show today talking about Rashee Rice. And we all know the news on Friday. He is not getting suspended for the 2026 season after the league concluded there was not enough evidence there to move forward that there was a violation of the personal conduct policy. Great news on the field for the 2026 Chiefs. We discussed, does it change the draft a little bit? We can get back into that, as I'm sure we got a new mock draft coming up in the Chiefs Red half hour. But something that immediately came up after this, because prior to the news on whether he would be suspended, he had no trade value. Now that he's available, what does that look like? And would you be interested in trading him? Because I think at this point in time, people would be shocked still how little you would actually get back, and it's not worth the trade. Like, Rashee Rice is more valuable to the Chiefs being wide receiver 1 in 2026 in a contract year to go earn himself some big money, maybe somewhere else in 2027, than he is you trading him for what? I really don't know. Is it a conditional third? Is it a fourth-round pick? Is it a fifth? I honestly really don't know. It's definitely not a first or second. I know that. I do know.
It's not a first. That's delusional. Yeah. Even in my most optimistic internal brain thoughts, I don't even think I can get to a second unless it was like you were sending back a fourth or, or you were sending back a third. So it was more like a pick swap situation than it was the actual getting of a second-round pick. So, I think third is probably around the range. The problem is, and you and I both said that we're not interested long-term. So, I get the desire. Like, if you're done with Rashee Rice and you're like, I don't think he's a long-term option anyway, there's a temptation there. We talk about this all the time. Better to get something for them than nothing. I told Drew this last year with Trey Hendrickson. Before the season started, I'm like, trade the guy before you get nothing for him. And then, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes players leave, and you just get a compensatory pick or whatever the hell comes with it, right? Those things certainly can happen. And a tag and trade would certainly be viable, or like you mentioned, a compensatory. But if you can't get better than an end-of-the-third-round compensatory, let's just say Rashee Rice.
But that's what I'm saying. You're better off just playing the comp pick game and playing it out. He's also got a chance to be a 1,000-plus yard receiver for you and help you win in 2026 while still on a rookie deal. So I don't think this changes my level of interest in a trade. It opens the possibility up again just because of the suspension not being there. But I mean, if I was another team in the NFL, that they could be interested. I just don't know why the Chiefs would be interested in moving on from Rice now in a final year, knowing that you're not getting much back for him.
This just feels like one of those years in order to stabilize, because I also don't think you just we talked about maybe the team expectations being slightly different this year as far as division or number 1 seed or any of the normal stuff we would discuss. That's fine. I also don't think any year you have with Patrick Mahomes, even coming off a major injury, you just totally mail one in. And to me, that trade, that's a mail one in year. You're going to go into the season with a rookie wide receiver, Thornton, an aging Kelsey. What are you doing here? No, Rashee Rice is still, you have no better option as your number 1 wide receiver this season than Rashee Rice. That includes if you went to the free agency pool and went to go get Jawan Jennings. There isn't a better choice to have as your number 1 wide receiver this season anywhere, unless it is pick 9 or Rashee Rice. Maybe pick 9, you could make the argument. But how many times is the rookie wide receiver still option number 1 for a team in perpetuity? It's still not all that common. Even some of the better wide receivers, like Luther Burden, was one of the better young wide receivers last year. They clearly have a mind of thinking he might be their best wide receiver this year.
I think he is.
But he wasn't last year. It was still DJ Moore for a season, and then they'll move to that next stage. So if you got to risk it's just a comp pick, you still pick one at 9 or 29 and go in there, fine. But trading him, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not even I'm not even in the long-term game, but I still wouldn't trade Rashee Rice.
Yeah, someone on the text line suggested, could you pair him up with, pick 29 to move up. I don't think for 2026 that's just a smart move at all. What Rice and the 29th pick to move up to what? How far are you moving up? If we think it's a 4th round pick or a 3rd round pick that you're getting, well, then go look at the draft chart. You're not moving up that much. You're moving up, honestly, to 25 maybe. You're not moving up from 29 to 15 by trading Rashee Rice and pick 29. That's not happening. If you just look at what you think the value is for Rice, knowing that the next team has to eventually decide to give him a contract down the road, and given his history. So I just think he's way more valuable to the Chiefs than any other team in football heading into the season still, given everything we know about his circumstance.
Yeah, it's clearly a played out situation. You and I said maybe the team will talk themselves into, fans will. He goes out there and he plays 17 games and has 1,150 yards and 8 touchdowns.
We will get text if he has a 1,200-yard or 1,000-yard year, 6 to 8 touchdowns, and he's squeaky clean off the field heading into the entire 2026 season. We will get texts from people saying, "What, you don't believe in second chances? What do you mean you don't want to give the guy money?" We will get 1 million of those texts.
I guess. What do you think
in January? Go ahead, Drew. Sorry.
I was gonna say, if you want to trade him though, after this year. Next year's class is when you do the trade. In a way, the best case scenario may actually end up being he actually does have that 1,200-yard season and double-digit touchdowns, and somebody wants him. You tag and trade him to move up and get not that you'd get Jeremiah Smith, but
you may be in the 4th round. Then you got to pay him too.
But you get a Cam Coleman, you get a Ryan Williams, you get somebody else that's not a Jeremiah Smith, but that's going to be in the 1st round.
Yeah,
where we know the talent level class because this year I agree with you guys. There's no reason to trade him, 1, because of what you're going to get from him. 2, the draft class isn't as good at wide receiver as next year is. So if you're going to trade him after this season, if he does put up a good year, actually is the perfect time to tag and trade or try to see what you can work out.
Tag and trade, if he has that type of year, I guess it's on the table. It's just that number is going to be even higher than this year. Higher. So let's call it 27 this year. Let's call it 29 mil or 30 million, just to make it easy. $30 million. Unless you already think you have something in place, that's a number that has to be on the books the sort of next league year. I don't know if they're willing to do that. That's, of course, way down the road, and a lot of things have to happen. But I just...
Is he a free agent after this year?
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's a 2nd-round pick, so no 5th-year option. I guess the question you have to ask yourself is, do you think he is a discount guy still? If he goes through all this year...
this offseason.
Keeps his nose clean, gets all the way through the year... Let's just say has a good year. Doesn't have to be the world's most tremendous year. Mm-hmm. Is he in any way discounted off of market rate at the end of the season if he has a good year?
No, the only way you get a discount is if you do it now. And I wouldn't do that, but that's the only way I think you get the quote-unquote discount. If he goes, because put yourself in his shoes, as much as he's screwed up on his own, if he does go out there and has what we keep saying, 1,000+ yard season and multiple touchdowns, and he doesn't have off-the-field issues, he's thinking, why would I give a discount now? I got the leverage now. I'm coming off the year. I've been good, and the legal stuff's behind. I think the only way you get any sort of quote-unquote discount is if the Chiefs decided, well, we've stood by him. We're going to keep standing by him. We're going to give him a contract right before the start of the season. I think that's tremendously risky, and I don't think they should do that.
What would that even look like? A 2 for 50 or a two for if you let's say it was
50.
Shorter.
Higgins makes 28.
He's not as good
makes
as
29s. Waddle
before
makes
the season.
28. But he is in that category. You love Higgins, but Higgins is a 2. If he's a 1, he might be an 1,100 yarder. I just think if Rashee Rice puts in that season, someone might talk themselves into.
Yeah,
he also don't have to be better
than
T to get paid more than T.
Yeah, but if he gets paid before the season, Cody, if he's offered 2 for 50, I think Rashee Rice, knowing the situation, I think he takes 2 for 50.
That's Devonta Smith's number. He makes $25 million a year. Nico Collins, 24.2.
2 for 50, and what's guaranteed on that though?
Well that would be the. But
those guys have guaranteed between 30 and 40 million.
Because and I'm not saying that the Chiefs obviously wouldn't give him a contract thinking that they're going to trade him at the end of the year, but you giving him the contract opens up the availability where let's say he is really good, and a team offers you something. If you think there's ways to play around it instead of just dealing with the franchise tag and trade where, like you guys said, the number will be higher. who's willing to actually do that? Or are the Chiefs willing to like all of those other
Someone
things?
says, why would he take a discount before this season? The difference now is because he hasn't gone out there and had the big year yet. And he does have major legal fees, et cetera. And by NFL standards, he hasn't made any money. He really didn't have much money
if it was a
from an NFL perspective.
If it was a 2-year deal, I would. If it was somebody mentioned 2 for $40. If you're Rashee Rice,
2 for $40.
2 for $40. Let's say he takes the 2 for $40 and he goes and he has 800 yards. You're not getting you're not going to get that big contract you're hoping for. So I think if he's offered 2 for $40 or offered 2 for $50, I would think that he would take it just because he knows he can at least secure.
It's kind of an ironclad ethics clause. That's for sure.
and I get it all the time. We always say, right, you got to be more talented than your problems or whatever, better than your problems kind of thing. And teams look the other way all the time. It does happen. I don't know. Given the Chiefs' track record in the past, and yes, I'm talking about Tyreek Hill and others, I don't know. Are they in a spot where they want to go down that path and risk handing out money to somebody that has had the problems that Rice has had? I don't know. We're going to find out as we get close to the season. But the fact that he's not suspended is great news for the 2026 Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's that simple.
He also just I don't think he's ever going to project. He could project as the number one starter for this team, but I don't think he ever projects at this point as a high-end number one wide receiver, which is what in the end game I'm aiming for out of Kansas City if given the opportunity. So it's tough. If they offered it to him, if they offered him 2 for $50, I do think he'd actually sign it.
I think so too.
I think he actually would put pen to paper on that.
And
I could be wrong, but I think he'd sign it.
If you're the Chiefs, though, also, and you think about it, I don't know how you guys would feel. Let's say that actually happened. It's a 2-year deal where I know that it's 2 for $50, but there is the out of, well, it's only 2 years. It's not like you're giving him the 3 for $100 or the 4 for $100.
It's a low-ish risk.
Yeah, it's only 2 years compared to a 3 or 4 year deal.
So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. We'll get to the trash of the day in about 7 minutes here on Cody and Gold. I know we were excited on Friday's show, knowing at the time we thought Friday night and the weather bumped it. You were supposed to go to the game Friday and the weather. But
did not go.
Avila was going to make his first MLB start. Not his MLB debut, but his first career start on Friday. Then got bumped to Saturday. And it's one start. But it was disappointing because we had talked him up and the team had talked him up quite a bit. And who knows, what's next for him. I don't know what the future roster moves are going to look like and when we will see him next.
What already happened? Michael Massey just got called back up.
Yeah, unrelated to Avila. Yeah. But yeah, Michael Massey's up Lofton back down. Massey's healthy. Hopefully he's playing here pretty soon. Maybe tonight. I don't know. Avila, it's one outing, but it was disappointing because, man, we were talking about potentially he's a guy that immediately could come in and help your squad. He got called up way quicker than anybody was expecting because Michael Walker had an illness. Walker is starting tonight and is all good, it sounds like.
I do think it's kind of important to note that with Avila, he was the first call they made when they needed a starter. They needed one starter for one game, and Gold, normally the guy you call first is the guy you're planning on calling first pretty much the entire season. That guy doesn't really get bumped off the list very often. They continuously are the person who comes up for a month or this or that. And I think this is a big year for them deciding on Avila whether or not is he a starter or do we think he's a back-end reliever? As in, because they've said this before, with the velocity and stuff, they think he could be an 8th or 9th inning guy. And for each start he makes in the big leagues, if it doesn't go well, they will, I think, be tempted by the idea of, wouldn't hurt to have a dominant back-end reliever if that's available to us. So, yeah, the first start was a bit concerning. He got some strikeouts. He had massive control issues.
But he
walked 3 guys in 3 innings. He got hit around pretty hard.
He did.
Brewers is a tough first out. That's one of the best offenses in baseball, but still.
In AAA, he only pitched 3 innings, I think, in his one AAA start. Yeah. So, you were hoping they were never expecting to get 6 innings out of him in that game, but the 3, what was it? Ended up being 3 1/3. Is that what it was?
He didn't get to pitch as much in the World Baseball Classic because he's not one of those guys, You got to be one of the top major leaguers in order to make that thing happen. And so I don't take a lot of bearing in it, if that makes sense. But it is if he makes, let's say, 6 to 7 starts this year, and they all kind of not land in this range, but he's mediocre, and you've got some other guys coming up in your system eventually who could be projectable starters, let's say even when Kolik's healthy or some of these others, well then, yeah, I'll start thinking, well, as of right now, I'll tell you right now, I watched this bullpen pitch right now. I certainly think they could use one more live arm back there. So, you get tempted pretty quick to start going the other direction or the back and forth direction. We forget Daniel Lynch was a starter, reliever, 5 or 6 times before they finally were like, okay, reliever. So, like, that might very well end up being the future of Luinder Avila, and where if you get stuck in a fringe level, they keep giving you chances to be a starter for a long time until they kind of make the determination, which is fine. I don't think it's a bad spot. But, yeah, it was a bit disappointing on Saturday. I was disappointed I didn't get to go to the game on Friday night. Looks like they could have gotten it in. I got to say, they called that game, and so the group I was going with were like, I guess we're not going to the game tonight. And then I just sat around my house. I'm like, is it even raining?
Yeah, it backfired. They were worried about this potential severity, I think, of it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it ended up not raining. It's always the worry about the lightning and everything. Yesterday was gorgeous out there. I was out there yesterday. Obviously, they didn't win. Okay, bummer. But it was beautiful, man. It was like perfect 65, and like it was just like, and as long as you were sitting in the sun, which was the majority of the stadium for most of the game, it was awesome.
Pleasant?
Yeah.
You almost got a come from behind win in the game last night.
It's close.
Battled it back, got it within 1, and then the bullpen fell apart.
It's been the story so far. 10 games in or whatever we are, 9 games into the season.
Honestly, it just doesn't feel like they've hit the ground running in any way. Like everything feels, other than the starting pitching, I guess, like it hasn't started really chugging along. And look, Avila
how often are we going to hear, and I'm not saying there's zero truth to it, but it already feels like we're now starting to have the WBC discussion. The WBC led to this, all that. And maybe there's some truth to it for some guys if you look across baseball. But this is also a Royals roster that had maybe more WBC players than anybody else still playing late.
I mean, late,
right?
For sure. Yeah.
You know, with Garcia, Salvi, and Avila, and of course Bobby, Cags,
all in the finals or semifinals.
Yeah. I mean, go on. I mean, so I don't know. Maybe I told you this year is not a year in which I'm going to hear excuses. So that would to me be an excuse.
So I will not be acknowledging it. Yeah.
I have already started to hear that.
I just don't get how that would have.
Well, in Avila's case, it hurts him because he didn't get to get built out.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think that for the pitching aspect is there too, but I mean, Vinny played, Cags played, like Mike, like those guys play. I feel like you would have, if anything, it would have helped you. Well, I would think more than hinder from a position player standpoint.
And we only talk about when it goes bad, not when it goes good. It's like Cags has had this is his best 9-game stretch in his big league career. Genuinely, I guarantee it's his best 9-game stretch. He only played like 60 games last year, and I don't think any of them had him hitting 290 with a 360 on base or whatever. So it's like it didn't seem like it slowed him down.
The only question we did have I will say this about the WBC. You saw the emotion of all those players in those big moments in the WBC, and you're playing at that high level of energy, and there's truly something on the line. You lose and you go home, right? You can't match that when all of a sudden you're playing on April 5th, and there's still 150 some odd games to go. And so I did wonder that. We had that discussion on the show. Like, how do you go from that to then down to, okay, it's April, we're at square one again, and we got a long road ahead of us. Yeah, now, that's on them to figure out.
Yeah, and then tomorrow in 35 degrees, you're playing in front of 4,500 people in Cleveland. That is kind of
figure it out.
Bit of an emotional swing, in fairness. So, like, I get your point, but, yeah, it's not great.
Trash of the day.
All right, this one is semi-local. I'll call it local. You may have seen this story late last week. We did not get to it. It had involved the superintendent of Harrisonville Schools, who is being accused of damaging a bar while on a district trip. So this was at Margaritaville Lake Resort. This is the one at the Ozarks, not the new one they got over at KCK, which I want to go get a day pass and go chill at the Land Shark over there at some point. Drew, it's like right by your place.
Yeah.
So this was in the Ozarks. And according to the report, it says when they arrived, staff reported allegedly finding Joseph Parkhurst, who is the superintendent of Harrisonville Schools.
Oh, he's a superintendent?
Quote, intoxicated, asleep, and in his underwear. Security had escorted him out of the bar. Cops reported finding multiple plastic cups, half-served pitchers, a broken margarita mix, several empty beer cans, a computer knocked over, broken beer taps, a landline phone broken off the wall, a plastic light cover damaged, and a roof tile out of place. Yes, a roof tile out of place. I don't know if he was on the roof, what happened. But
how do you manage that?
He was arrested.
Maybe
School district has refused to comment on whether he is or isn't on leave while they investigate. Again, this happened on a district trip to the resort as well.
So he was on a district trip to the Lake of the Ozarks. They went to Margaritaville, and this man tied one off like we've never seen before. Like, I've been drunk in front of my boss. We discussed this when we were in Las Vegas.
We were at the Luke Combs concert.
Fairness, I didn't expect to be near her at the time, but either way, I was drunk in front of the boss. There's no denying it.
True.
The question is, But even in that case, Gold, I wasn't tearing the building apart. The hell was this guy doing? He thought he was almost famous.
You were just repeating yourself 100 times to me on the walk back to the hotel.
But at least I didn't rip the building apart. Again, that's an overall win.
Yeah.
I'm not destructive when I'm
Cody
drunk.
kept talking about the lunch he had with Pete Sweeney. 7 different. He's like, Gold.
7 might be putting
He's like, Gold. Pete and I went and had lunch, and he had this whatever sandwich, and it was amazing. I must have heard about this sandwich 7 times. I'm really not even exaggerating.
I don't think you are exaggerating. I think genuinely that's probably an accurate count.
But this guy, I don't know, district trip. I want to know about the roof tile. How did the roof tile get damaged?
I'm guessing he threw that bottle up there.
Ah, okay.
I mean, that's my best guess.
He was having a good time, is what you got.
Too good of a time.
He's having a good time.
Yeah.
Relax, man.
I haven't stayed. I've been to the Land Shark or whatever over in the Ozarks in Margaritaville. That's a fun spot. But I mean, and it's definitely a party atmosphere. But he was on a work trip. What are you doing, man?
I also think that there's a difference. I think it's easier to be the subordinate who's drunk. If you're the person in charge, you can't be the most drunk, right? That's just no good. These people have to report to you, respect you, listen to you.
He really needed that vacation.
If we all went to
he really wanted that trip.
We got
someone says this guy was his roommate in college. Someone on the text line claims this guy they were roommates.
No, so not surprised at all.
Were you? I mean, is that? I mean, I don't know if that's true.
Do we know? Do we know where this person went to college? Not the texter. Do we know where the superintendent went to college? Because we might be able to cross-reference enough
to look it up.
To see if it's in the ballpark of true.
I think we're talking about in the management stuff. We got our draft party coming up. Remember, it's at the Brooksider in Brookside. $965 prize. If you win our draft contest, Chris and Bink broadcasting live. All the staff is in attendance at the Brooksider. Mm-hmm. If we all went there and Speck was
blasted,
hammered, drunk, Drew, you'd be like, damn, what the hell happened? I'd be afraid to talk about it on the air. I'd be like, how did Speck get so drunk?
I wouldn't talk about it, but it would be
based on this
something.
By the way, based on the profile, the school that the texter claims is not what's showing up. So.
All right.
You're saying not there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything.
From the 816, typical Harrisonville behavior. Is this a?
What?
Is this a?
I'm not in Harrisonville.
I have no idea. Yeah.
To know whether or not to trash. I used to play some baseball tournaments there when I was a kid.
Driven past Harrisonville, never really been inside of Harrisonville all that much. But yeah.
I don't feel like it'd be right for me to just bash Harrisonville. That feels like something someone from Peculiar would say. They're just taking down little rivalry, saying oh no, my town is better than your town. I don't know though.
Someone says sounds like he was found in his hotel room, not at the bar. Fair, but I mean, he was obviously getting it said he had pitchers, so he's probably. I mean, he didn't bring his own pitchers. He had to got it from the bar there, right? Like he didn't just bring his own pitchers of beer.
Yeah, I don't know. Man, he's a doctor. I mean, doctor. He's got a doctorate. That's tough. Is he even on the page anymore? They take him down.
He is.
Okay.
Do you get? I would assume you get fired for something like that, or if you're
they haven't commented whether or not they are firing him or not.
Is that?
I don't know. Should he be fired, Cody? Mr. Professor? Would UMKC fire you?
Yeah, I think so.
Professor Tapp.
I'll tell you right now. Well, based on my current level of commitment to the university, I teach 2 classes.
Easy to move on from.
If this showed up on Fox 4's website, local radio host and UMKC professor trashed part of an entire area of Margaritaville, they get rid of me real fast. I don't even think that. He won new principal of the year in 2021. He's finals for principal of the year in 2022, it said.
Had a bad day, Cody. He had a bad day.
I'm just trying to look at his graduated from Baker. Got his master's at William Woods. Oh, Baker was his doctorate. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to go through. Somebody said they went to with him at UCM. Now I want to know if that's where his undergrad was. But they're only mentioning his. Oh no, he got Avila.
Yeah, we already addressed.
Did you cover that? Okay.
So he went there, and then he entered the portal to get his doctorate somewhere else. Then he entered the portal somewhere.
You got to move around a little bit. They applaud you for continuing ed.
Yes.
Well, that's how you get a salary bump.
Yeah.
With those. Anyway, all right. Up next, let's get to the Chiefs right half hour. Let's talk more about wide receiver now that Rashee Rice is not getting suspended. We'll also have our latest mock draft to take a look at as we were just about 2.5 weeks away from heading to Pittsburgh for the NFL draft right here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, KC? It's Carter Jensen. You're listening to Cody and Gold on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
Hopefully for much more normal reasons, maybe you're looking for a new career. You know, and that career could be in IT. AI is a big part of where this is going. Technology continues to change, and that's where Centric Training Gold can get you in that new career and get you trained for that new career.
Yeah, they're going to work with you through the entire process. So yes, there's a 4-month program, and as little as 4 months, you can have a brand new career, but they also are going to help you post-graduation from the program, right? They're going to help you with interview prep, help you get in contact with employers in the Kansas City area. This is not a situation where you're going to have to move outside of Kansas City. There's so many job opportunities, and they've got the relationships that are going to help you. They've been a trusted tech training and solutions partner for more than 30 years.
So if you're curious about it, find out for yourself. Go to Centric.com, talk to our guy Russ, and find out what that new career in IT could look like for you.
Now's the time to complete that painting project you've been putting off. CertaPro Painters provides a free estimate quickly and at the right price. Whether it's interior or exterior, you'll never have to wonder what's next. They provide reliable updates because they know how important your home is to you. Ask about their spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. Remember, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in Kansas City. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Warmer weather, longer days, and a juicy steak sizzling on the fire. Ah, smells like grilling season is here. Stock up and save big this Friday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. Choose bacon-wrapped chicken grillers for $3.99 each. Marinated chicken breasts, $1.99. Thick-cut pork chops, 3 for $5. And specialty brats, just 8 for $10. Don't forget your favorite marinade, rubs, and sauces, and fire up the grill this Friday through Sunday, only at Hy-Vee.
Hy-Vee makes our life easier every single day. Not only do they have great quality customer service and value every single day at Hy-Vee, they help us out and they take the pressure of shopping off our plate. We've got our Perks Plus membership. We upgraded from the regular Hy-Vee Perks membership because with Perks Plus, we get free grocery delivery or express pickup, plus even more exclusive benefits and savings like fuel saver deals all day long. So enroll today at Hy-Vee.com/perks. Only at Hy-Vee.
The final college basketball game is tonight, and FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost. Build yourself a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout, or try jumping in for some live betting after tip-off. Best of all with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. Just visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. That's FanDuel.com/local to claim your first profit boost and keep the action going from now till the big championship game tonight. Take advantage of FanDuel's college basketball profit boost to build your parlay or use it with live betting after tip-off during tonight's game. Remember to go to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, play your game. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issue with non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
At Telly Tire, when it comes to car problems, we've heard it all. From tires to timing belts to faulty air conditioning. Ooh. At Telly Tire and Auto Centers, we've been fixing problems like these and customers' bad days for over 80 years. So relax and take it to Telly. Schedule your service at tellytire.com.
You know what scared Kathy more than surgery? Giving up her active life, turning down opportunities to do the things she loves.
I found myself saying, no, I don't want to do that because of pain. It was really limiting my activities in every way.
And then came the diagnosis.
You need 2 full knee replacements. I don't have time for a double knee replacement. And I don't like pain. So, no.
But that's not how her story ends. She tried something different. QC Kinetics. It was cutting edge, but natural and much easier on her body with thousands of patient success stories.
I went to QC Kinetics. Within a couple of weeks, I was absolutely pain-free, no pain. I feel fantastic. Too much life to live, and I want to stay in motion as long as I possibly can.
Don't let pain decide what you say yes or no to. Live your best life. They'll make sure of it at QC Kinetics, starting with a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
At Kansas City Proton Institute, we're delivering the future of cancer care with state-of-the-art proton therapy right here in KC. If you have breast, head and neck, or brain cancer, proton therapy may be a better treatment than conventional radiation. Don't wait. Get your second opinion at Kansas City Proton Institute. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced proton therapy team. Learn more at kcpi.com. Kansas City Proton Institute, where you see the best in KC.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
This report is brought to you by CM Mose & Son, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical services. CMMoseandSon.com.
Dispatch, this is Mindy at CM Mose & Son. Well, boy, it's getting hot out there. Now, if your AC is making funny noises, just needs a once-over, or your home isn't as cool as it used to be, visit CMMoseandsons.com. CM Mose & Sons. License 202919.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour brought to you by Leavenworth PD. Be a cop, be yourself, build your career at Leavenworth PD. Apply today at leavenworthks.gov/police. We'll get to a new mock draft. My guess is it's a new week. Typically, we do those on Mondays. We'll see if we get a sounder or not today, as we are 2.5 weeks away from heading over to Pittsburgh for the draft. We will be broadcasting live there on Thursday and Friday, I should say, of the draft. We'll get there on Wednesday night. We'll do some fun social media stuff, but our shows will be Thursday and Friday, and I cannot wait to head out to Pittsburgh, and hopefully the weather's not what they're getting in Cleveland, which has prompted the Royals games to be day games tomorrow.
The high temperature in Cleveland tomorrow is 34 degrees.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So, that's the warmest it could conceivably be during the Guardians game tomorrow.
Now, thinking of the draft, we talked earlier this hour about Rashee Rice, and would you be interested in trading him, and what would that look like? You and I both don't believe that's really in play. What does it do for the draft for you as a Chiefs fan? And you can text in 913-586-7965. Does this change how you view the draft at all? Maybe you were all about drafting wide receiver because you thought Rice was going to miss half the season or more. Now that we know that's not happening unless there's something new that crops up, but he's going to be available week 1 for this team and hopefully for the whole season. I told you earlier, wide receiver at 9, if that was your move before, if you're the Chiefs and you love one of the 3 or 4, Tyson, Lemon, or Carnell Tate, well, then this should not alter that because Rice, as we both said, probably not back in 2027. So you still need a long-term wide receiver 1 option from the draft at some point. And look, they can maybe draft one at 29. I honestly don't care where they draft a receiver as long as it's one of the first 3 picks, so one of the first 40 picks in the draft. But I don't think this means that you don't draft a receiver at 9. If Bailey's off the board and Bain are off the board and Carnell Tate is your best player available, then draft Carnell Tate or Lemon or whoever. This is also why I would still not draft an offensive tackle.
The biggest swing player is actually Xavier Worthy, not Rice, as it relates to the draft. If you're the Chiefs and you're high, really high on Xavier Worthy, well then I can see why you're willing to take slightly more risks at wide receivers and wait till 40, wait till 74. I am optimistic Worthy can be better, but there's no part of me as it sits right now, even though he was a first-round pick, that thinks Xavier Worthy is going to convince you he's a number 1 wide receiver by the end of the 2026-2027 season. And so because of that, I really got to say that when it's being discussed, it should not change anything in the draft. Like I know it would be easy for us to come in here and be like, okay, now it's open. No, they can still take a wide receiver at 9 and I'm fine. Because at least for this level, I would say, what's the risk? Right? Genuinely, what's the risk? Do you have a good wide receiver unit for the first time since Tyreek Hill left? Oh, no. Because they've had below average to bad wide receiver units. One of the two during this time. I'd say when it's Rice and Worthy together, pretty good. But they've been together, how many games, legitimately, have they played on a football field together? Between Rice's suspensions, between the injuries, between, how many games have they played together? 10? Maybe less? I don't know. I mean, it's not a ton. And so I just have a hard time imagining this is the case. I'm still very interested in wide receiver at 9, very interested in wide receiver at 29. Some people think that if they trade up at 29, it would likely be for one of the wide receivers they like. But also next year is a wide receiver draft and a wide receiver heavy draft. So if they take their shot at 40 and then they tell themselves next year, we'll go back at it again.
But I'll tell you, though, for 26, if I tell you that it's Rashee Rice, wide receiver 2/3 is Tate, Lemon, or Tyson, or somebody like that.
That's a unit.
And then Worthy, and then still another year of Kelsey, plus Ken Walker in the backfield. Okay, I can get on board with that. That's kind of exciting. But also, we've acknowledged that, and to this point in time, on the defensive line, I still don't know where the hell they're getting the sacks from. Yes, George Karlaftis, sure, but we all know that when there was not a player opposite him, and when Chris Jones was struggling at times and getting double-teamed, who was the next guy? And while I like the Tonga signing at defensive tackle, I don't know who's getting after the quarterback after, really, Karlaftis and Chris Jones, who's a year older. And so the only argument not to do what we're saying at 9 is if, to me, you're drafting a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
That, and if a Bailey or Bain are there, that would be fine with me. They definitely, even before the Rice news, have put themselves with the signing of Ken Walker that they do not have to take any one position. I have a preference that they take a defensive lineman, but they are not stuck taking any one position. And that is the nice luxury they have at 9. Is there are multiple avenues to go. I just really don't think offensive tackle is a smart one, but people can agree or disagree on that.
Well,
so we'll see.
Obviously, it's the betting favorite, which is still
yeah. Well, everybody's talking about it.
Genuinely surprising to me. And if I told you, if you were a bettor, that is not the route I would go. I remember you and I talking about this last year. We were talking about the kind of positions they might draft towards the end of the first round and what the betting odds, and of course the betting odds were all over the place last year because when you're picking at the end of the first round, even more difficult in trying to diagnose and decipher what a team may do. It's just at wide receiver, I don't know why this would change your plan unless you are sure you're the Chiefs and you're doing it. And I think that there's let's put it a percentage to it. I think there's about a 10% chance Rashee Rice ever gets a long-term contract here. That's all I think it is. And if that's all I think it is, unless I think Xavier Worthy is awesome, I'm desperately still in the wide receiver market. And I think the worst case scenario is exactly what you said, which is you're the Chicago Bears from last year, but a better version in the sense that, okay, maybe my best wide receiver is a rookie, and then the following year I move on from Rice, and then that guy's my number one, like Luther Burden. And I just move on to the next guy. That's okay.
The part we
Much worse ways to live.
For sure. The part we don't know, with how the Chiefs are viewing it, and ultimately they're paid to get it right, which is we don't know, do they actually like these wide receivers or not? We keep talking about 2027 and how great the wide receiver room is expected to be, or the draft class is expected to be. Do we know, do the Chiefs actually think Tate, Lemon, or Tyson, or maybe it's not even them, maybe it is a Concepcion or somebody else that could be later in the first, second round. Do they think any of those guys are actually future wide receiver 1s/2s? And maybe they do. And if they do, then hopefully they take one of them. But that's the tricky part. Maybe they don't think the class is that good at wide receiver. I don't know.
No, I mean, and again, that might be part of it. And this is, I think, the frustrating part, genuinely. The frustrating part about Rashee Rice. And it's a big if. But when Rashee Rice plays and is healthy, he does appear to perform close to or at wide receiver number 1 levels. We've talked about this before. His last 15 games in the NFL, he's yards per game essentially makes him like a 1,200-yard wide receiver. He never plays that many games, but he does when he's on the field get used that way in a lot of ways. Maybe there's a solution to their defensive line needs anyway. According to Adam Schefter, I was gonna say, Giants All-Pro defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence has requested a trade. So we'll talk about that after the mock draft, but maybe that's something.
Yeah, just saw that come across. Dexter Lawrence, 28 years old, once out of New York. We'll see ultimately what that ends up being. I don't know if it's just a contract situation or if he truly wants out. Last year had a half sack. Right? Remember, he's probably not a fit in Kansas City because he's not a sack guy.
He's a D-tackle.
And they have Tonga now. No, he had 9 sacks 2 years ago. But I haven't even looked at the contract stuff. Like you said,
because of the Tonga signing, I'd be surprised. So don't get your hopes up, Chiefs fans. Instead, get your hopes up via the draft.
We're going to go to Chad Ryder. Haven't had a mock draft from him yet this year. A 5-rounder he put out over
5.
Over
why not just
go
the others? Can I ask?
What?
If you're getting all the way to 5 rounds, why not just finish the other 2?
Because that's another 60-plus players that you have to do research on and figure out where
you can half-ass the final 60. Who cares?
He might be doing that with the 5th round.
5 feels like a weird spot.
Right. Anyways, Chad Ryder at NFL Network at round 1, pick 9. Ruben Bain out of Miami. Interesting in this mock draft. Cardinal Tate is the first wide receiver taken at number 11 to the Dolphins. No wide receivers taken in the top 10. There's also a trade, Gold's favorite thing, involving the Kansas City Chiefs. They trade up from 29 to pick 20 in this mock draft with the Cowboys. 9 spots, they give up 74 and also a pick swap in the 5th round. So no 3rd-round pick, a pick swap that actually ends up them dropping 20 positions in the 5th round from where they would have picked. So that's to move up 9 spots and take Caden Proctor, offensive tackle from Alabama.
I don't know anything about Caden Proctor.
I told you, tackle at some point in the draft, I don't care. I don't want to tackle at 9. You're not going to have me as upset about getting one in the 29th pick, although this is, again, trading up to go get a tackle. Caden Proctor is the big tackle from Alabama, massive human being. You've seen him play.
330.
6'7", 350.
Yeah, big guy.
Just massive human being. But the question I still would have, giving up a premium asset, not only another first-round pick, but then trading up on top of it. It's not as devastating to me as drafting one at 9, but I would still say, is this all about Jalen Moore? This tells us everything. Or is there something we don't know about Josh Simmons? Because Proctor, Drew, was he a left tackle in college? Now, it's not crazy that a tackle would play right tackle in NFL, but was Proctor left tackle or right at Alabama?
I want to say he was right, but let's see here.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
I don't know.
Okay, it's fine. I was just curious. It's not the end of the world.
I think for the rookie year, they'd be starting at right tackle anyway.
Okay. Right. Unless there was something up with Josh Simmons or something. Yeah. 3 years at left tackle. There we go. Okay. There we go. I found it. Okay. Here we go. A couple things that Draft Buzz has about Caden Proctor, the tackle out of Alabama. Feet get too narrow or cross over under pressure, which kills his base and balance. Pad level rises as games wear on. Frame naturally plays high, giving shorter rushers leverage. Arms measured short for a tackle. Uh-oh, Bink. Someone get Bink on the line.
They're going to have short arms at 6'7".
It said his arms are short for his height, shrinking his margin on hand placement.
So he might have
also says
33-inch arms. But
this part is also scary. Weight management is a real concern. Touched 370 during the season. Needed coaching staff motivation to slim down. Oh, boy.
370.
Coming to Kansas City with all the barbecue, this seems like a terrible decision. Oh, my goodness. Did allow 5 pressures in week 1 before the weight drop, raising questions about conditioning and size. Those were the weaknesses for Caden Proctor. His best stuff, anchor, best trade on tape. Once he sinks and plants, bull rushers go nowhere.
And I don't know how I feel about a tackle at 20. Andrew giving up 74. Andrew losing 20 spots in the fifth.
2.5-inch vertical, 109-inch broad jump at 352. That's insane.
With tackles, it's always so funny.
He's athletic for
hey,
his
have you
size,
guys ever seen an offensive tackle broad jump in an NFL game? I've yet to see it.
Right.
Waiting for the moment. I've at least seen him run or move.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen him have to broad jump.
Yeah, he played with a torn labrum back in 2025. Okay. He was still first team all SEC.
Was at Alabama, transferred to Iowa for 1 year, transferred back to Alabama last year.
He finished second on Bruce Feldman's freak list.
Okay.
815-pound squat, 535-pound bench, 405-pound power clean, and he carried the ball 5 times.
Yep.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they used him in goal line.
They used him in goal line?
Oh, yeah.
We got our new QB sneak guy?
Hungry Pig right
6'7".
or whatever it is, right?
Well, they're not going to take their starting right tackle off the field to take the handoff.
Yeah.
I guess Alabama did.
Mm-hmm.
They probably had some other monster, or at least better than all the opponents.
So that's Caden Proctor's definitely a name because of
Bain
Alabama.
and Proctor.
Bain Proctor, and then in the second round, Avian Terrell, they have falling to 40.
That's a common name. Seen that one a bunch of times.
They haven't fallen to 40, though. He's been mocked as high as, like, in the teens, Avian Terrell has been. So.
40 seems like a hell of a pick. Actually, we've had the similarities we've discussed with Duffy and his flexibility, versatility.
Some newer names as we get down to this part of the draft. Again, no third-round pick in this mock draft, of course, because the Chiefs traded it. In the 4th round, pick 109, Brennan Thompson, wide receiver out of Mississippi State, ran a 4.26 in the 40. Fastest wide receiver. Some people thought he could have potentially challenged Xavier Worthy.
5'9".
Yep.
5'9" with the 4.21.
Okay, Sky Moore. I'm good.
Without even, I'll be honest, Drew, without even looking up a real scouting report on him or his stats in college, pass. You just described a shorter, less fast Xavier Worthy. The hell am I interested in that for? I better be a hell of a route runner. He is also in the 4th round. There's a reason why, but still.
4.26 at the combine.
It's 4.26.
Top speed, holds through the catch point. Deep ball tracking looks natural. 5'9" and can actually track the football. That part's great. But the 5'9" part
They said that
is a
about Xavier
problem.
Worthy coming out of college.
5'9" part's a problem.
He tracked the ball. Xavier Worthy did very well in college at that. In the 5th round, of course, 3 picks. So the Chiefs had 148. They moved their first pick in the 5th round is 169 now with that pick swap. Bishop Fitzgerald, safety from USC. I'll just run through them for you. Round 5, 176. Gary Smith, the 3rd defensive tackle at UCLA. And then the last one, pick right after 176. 177, Matthew Hibner, tight end from SMU.
I really do think the more we do these mocks, the reason why I keep getting hung up on like the trades and why I don't like them is I don't think they can really fill their needs and just give up 40 and just give up 74. Like, I don't think, like, no mock in which they trade that way, Gold. Am I satisfied with the result as a whole? Because I'm like, well, you got like 2 of the things you needed, but what about everything else?
So you don't like
versus if you use all your picks, at least I feel like you're addressing wide receiver, defensive line, corner, and tackle. Even if you want, like you're taking care of all of the needs. You know?
Yeah, because technically they do take care of all the needs, but you lose the 3rd rounder, of course, where instead of settling for wide receiver or one of those positions in the 4th, you get him in the 3rd. Obviously, you think would be better talent and all those other things. So the position split, if you will, was edge, offensive tackle, corner, wide receiver, safety, D tackle, tight end. So not one doubling up of any position in this mock draft from Chad Ryder. Every position is different in each round.
Slightly different than what we've had so far.
Yes, some newer names.
What were his top 10, by the way, just out of curiosity, before he got to Bain? I'm always curious how they get Bain to 9 or how he doesn't get to 9. Because, like, I know it's Mendoza 1.
Yeah. Obviously, it is Fernando Mendoza at 1, and then
Bailey and Love must have gone.
Arvell Reese at 2, Maui Noah at 3, David Bailey to the Titans at 4, Jeremiah Love 5 to the Giants. Browns take Monroe Freeling.
He's in the top 10 all the time.
Washington takes Mansour Delane. Downs goes to the Saints at 8. Ruben Bain, of course, to the Chiefs at 9. And then the Bengals take Jermod McCoy at 10.
What a risk. All the talent in the world, but like there's a risk with McCoy.
Give me Jamal McCoy. He had a great pro day. That was all everybody needed to see. He locks himself into the top 15 at the latest, I think, to me. He's not 29, not happening anymore for Jamal McCoy. He will not be there.
Ty Simpson's a jet at 16.
Perfect.
Are you still got
luck.
some Ty Simpson cards?
I sold those.
You sold out?
Yeah. Once I realized it was heading south.
You were like, all right, time to pack up shop.
I got rid of those before the season was up.
Wow, you didn't even wait
because it was
he
trending
hurt,
in a bad direction.
Yeah, it
He
was.
was he had the third best Heisman odds at that point in time before things started going south. And then
That's
I
'cause his
recognized
offensive
that
lineman couldn't block.
What's your biggest investment player right now? Who are you in deep
college?
Either
really
pros or college.
Well, just in general, I would say David Shields, the Royals prospect. I have a bunch of his cards right now, but he's, and by the end of the year, he might be a top 3 prospect in the organization. He already is top 5 for a top 3. Yeah.
He's right
So
in there.
David Shields, NFL, football's tough. It's not this. There's not really the prospect game. It's like when the draft, when these guys get drafted here in April. Sure, I mean quarterbacks, wide receivers are only cards that are going to hold value. There's no defensive lineman like Caden Proctor. You're not going to invest in cards of Caden Proctor
Do people only care about quarterbacks and football card collecting anyway?
for the most part.
Or
For the most part,
like a wide receiver.
I mean, wide
maybe?
receivers, yes, but it's quarterbacks. If you're asking like what's worth the most, yeah, quarterback.
Shields, by the way, is the 4th
Okay,
highest ranked prospect, and as soon as Carter Jensen plays like 2 more weeks, he'll be the
True.
3rd
Okay.
highest ranked
Yeah,
prospect.
so David Shields, that's
the
a
system.
big fan of his. Rooting for him. Yeah, let's go.
I thought Saturday it was at least good that Carter Jensen was a contributor to one of the wins.
Had a big
Like,
2 RBI or double or whatever.
Yeah,
it is,
had an RBI that scored a couple. Had a sack fly, I think, later in it. It was important.
Did
that
you
he,
notice in the Royals sent it out? He did the sleeping, like when he got on base and he kind of did the sleeping of celebration.
Did he do that?
The Royals put out the photo of it. Yeah,
bold. Well,
I'm serious. I'm not making this up. This was I don't know if it's on their
celebration.
I don't know.
Steph.
Yeah, it's like
great.
putting him to sleep kind of thing. Like yeah.
Hey, you know what? Own it. Like I said, just don't let it derail you, and like it can just be haha funny time. Like it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
We mock you constantly. It can be we move on and you made your mistake. They did. I was a little surprised. I will admit. I was a little surprised when the original lineup came out on Friday and they decided to make it a 2-day punishment, and he wasn't in the starting lineup on Friday because there was no reason for him not to be. Jack Caglione was hitting 5th. Like there was no reason to have, and Salvi had still caught the day before. So like, it felt like, ooh, you know what? We're going to extend this punishment one more day. And I was just a little surprised by that. That's all. I wish the Royals had won the series this weekend, but take down the Guardians and we'll all be in business. Is there a worse sport to play in 35-degree weather than baseball? Like at least in soccer, you're moving.
I would say no.
Football, you're moving.
I would say no.
Football, you're also getting hit though.
That's not going to feel good.
That's.
Yeah, but 35, like that's not like 0. Like I don't think it's that bad, right? I mean, even if like they played.
The only thing is in football, now maybe not 35, but eventually that ground becomes frozen and you're landing on concrete basically. You're landing on concrete.
I mean, depending on the level, most of these NFL teams got those like fancy heated fields.
More and
now
more do.
They crank up like the in-floor heater. Essentially, it's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, but
it's not like playing at Arrowhead in the 90s.
It's not like it's warm though. You know what I mean?
No.
It's not like the grass is just hot.
It's not like in-floor heating. People put like heats. Put it in their like bathroom floor or whatever, so their feet don't get cold.
That would be so nice, by the way. People that have that in their house, you get right out of the bathroom and the shower, and the tiles hot or at least warm. Oh, that's the best.
I gotta say that when I tear out one of the bathrooms in this house, it'll be kind of tempting to put that in the radiant floor heating. I don't like. Why not? Floors are up.
Sounds amazing.
Does sound like it would be nice. I don't think I'd put it in every bathroom. I'm not crazy, but
just
maybe
yours.
one. Maybe the kids.
For you and Kramer and your wife.
maybe the kids' bathroom.
Oh, lastly, real quick, did you? Because now we're too close. Did you decide yes or no on the Airbnb for the World Cup?
No,
you're not doing it.
No,
you're not selling that, or you're not listing the house.
Didn't end up doing it. Just didn't want to have to
miss money
vacate.
making opportunity.
It is. There's no doubt, but it was going to be a lot of work to convince my wife to.
Oh,
agree
so
to
she
it.
was the one that was like, not sure.
And then it wasn't like I was like, and I was on the fence anyway, so I was like, oh, this just isn't gonna work. I have not recently checked what the going rate.
No, there's no need to now.
Yeah, now it doesn't matter. You already said no. Don't do that to yourself. You know.
Don't find out.
No.
Yeah.
No, probably don't. Want to
By the way, the Chiefs Red Half Hour brought to you by Leavenworth PD. Be a cop, be yourself, build your career at Leavenworth PD. Apply today at leavenworthks.gov/ Police. All right, coming up next, we will get to what's trending. We'll fill you in on what's going on across the sports world, including a national title game tonight, and more on what the Royals showed in their first homestand, or what they didn't show, perhaps.
What's up, KC? It's Matt Strahm from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to Cody and Gold on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
The final college basketball game is tonight, and FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost. Build a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout, or try live betting. Jump in after tip-off. Best of all, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. Just visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. That's FanDuel.com/local to claim your first profit boost and keep the action going from now till the big championship game tonight. Take advantage of the FanDuel College Basketball Profit Boost to build a parlay or use it with live betting after tip-off during tonight's championship game. Remember, go to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, play your game. FanDuel Sportsbook's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and over in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
When Kansas City storms roll through, hail and wind can damage your roof without you even realizing it. If your home was hit, call us at Century Roofing for a free inspection today. We handle every step with your insurance company, making the process stress-free and easy for you. For over 35 years and more than 35,000 roofs, we've been protecting Kansas City homes. Let us protect yours. Trust the Pillars of Strength with KC-based and female-owned. Century Roofing, KC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the Pillars of Strength.
Forget what you think being a cop is. In Leavenworth, we're not robotic, no egos, just real people doing real work and loving it. You'll have a front row seat to action you can't script, and you'll do it with the latest high-tech tools in modern policing and technology that helps you do the job smarter and safer. It's real. It's not for everyone, but if you want in, come apply.
Leavenworth PD. We're different on purpose. Got questions? Give Sergeant Flynn a call and apply now at leavenworthks.gov/police. That's leavenworthks.gov/police.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
New Bluebell Brookie a la mode ice cream brings brownies and cookies together like never before. Big chunks of brownies, soft chocolate chip cookie pieces blended into a rich, creamy brown sugar ice cream. It's not too good to be true. It's just that good.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at all in-house markets and select Apple markets.
DQ presents the Blizzard Double Flip Deal. For a limited time, when you buy one Blizzard treat, you get a second for just 99 cents. That's 2 Blizzards, 2 spoons, 2 flavors, and 2 flips. So don't miss out on the Blizzard Double Flip Deal, available only for a limited time and happening now at DQ. Because the only thing better than a Blizzard treat is a second Blizzard treat for just 99 cents. It's a deal to flip for. The Blizzard Double Flip Deal. Participation may vary.
What if you could have the most reliable Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee.
Just 5 years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most.
That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included.
Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi.
Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi? It would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that.
Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Powered by fiber. Connected to the premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I need a little range, step to the range.
There's a new flavor in town, the Jalapeno Ranch Club at Chick-fil-A. With that juicy Chick-fil-A original spicy or grilled chicken, a buttermilk ranch bun, candied bacon, pepper jack cheese, and jalapeno ranch sauce. It's got big ranch vibes with a little heat. Chick-fil-A's new Jalapeno Ranch Club, available for a limited time only. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
Draft coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here for wherever you are. That's the benefit of blue. Join us at the Fans Draft Party at the Brooksider Sports Bar and Grill on April 23rd for your chance to win $965 in our draft contest. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti. Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, trusted in Kansas City since 1994. One contractor, all things parking lot.
Number one on What's Trending, a champion will be crowned in men's college basketball tonight in Indianapolis, the national title game. It is Michigan against UConn. The Wolverines are a 7.5-point favorite after their very, very impressive butt whooping on Arizona Saturday. It was UConn taking down Illinois. This game does not start till 7:50 tonight. Yeah, it's a late one.
A little late
for the national title game.
I'm an old man. That's a little late. Man, if you're on the East Coast, imagine you're a UConn fan living on the East Coast.
You're locked in.
The game will be at 8:50. The game tips at 8:50 local time because Indy is Eastern time.
Yeah, that's late. I mean, 8:50 local time. That kind of stinks if you're like Indianapolis going to the game. I mean, I get it. It's only till 11 o'clock. But on a Monday night, that does kind of suck. Next up on What's Trending, Royals news. Michael Massey has been called back up to the big league club. Nick Lofton sit down in the corresponding move. They wrapped up their first homestand, of course, yesterday, which we'll talk about more in a minute. Currently at 4-5, they will take on the Cleveland Guardians tonight, who are in first place. At 5:10, it'll be Waka versus Tanner Bybee. Vern starting at 4 o'clock. And again, tomorrow's game moved from what was originally a 5:10 first pitch local time to once again a 12:10 first pitch local time because of the frigid temperatures in Cleveland.
Yeah, back-to-back day games coming up tomorrow and Wednesday for the Royals. Elsewhere locally, the KC Current got on the right side of things with a win against the Gotham FC 2-1. Sporting did lose, though, to Real Salt Lake 3-1 over the weekend. Timwell was back, though, for the Current, which was obviously a positive for them, to say the least. And Sporting, it was supposed to be a struggle in 2026, and that's been what it is.
It has been accurate to that word, at least there. Next up on What's Trending, the Artemis 2 will perform its flyby the moon today.
It's happening like right now, isn't it?
Well, they've witnessed the dark side.
The stream is on.
They've witnessed the dark side of the moon for the first time. The broadcast is on now. They're live streaming starting at noon Central, so that's begun. I think the actual flyby part of the broadcast starts at 1:45 Central Time. The crew will address the media and some of the other stuff coming up during that time as well. But the actual flyby, 1:45.
Is Pink Floyd playing as they go
past the dark side of the moon?
Is that playing at the same time?
I don't know. You'd think they'd have a good sense of humor about it. I know better than to ask anybody about the moon. I made the mistake that with Ned Yost one time, and He made that very clear that I didn't
1202 program alarm, Cody.
I'll hear the way he said Cody in my nightmares for the rest of my. He said it with such, and I can't remember. Like at the time, there were a couple of articles on it, and CBS Sports, the way they described it was like Ned Yost then continued dunking on reporter Cody Tapp for the next 10 minutes. I was like, okay, relax a little. But either way, moon landing, Artemis 2, all that stuff. Not moon landing, moon flyby today. Going to take place. Should be a good time.
Yeah, hopefully we get to a moon landing at some point in the future, but not yet. Not quite yet. All right, elsewhere on what's trending, UCLA women's basketball program gets their first national title over the weekend. That happened yesterday. They blew out South Carolina to get that done. It was not close, 79-51. And that's been the story for UCLA all year. They've been dominating inside, presence-wise, and they were so impressive against Texas on Friday night. Texas was one of the higher scoring teams in the country. That game on Friday between Texas and UCLA, the live total was 130, or the total pregame was 135. It got down to 80-something at one point. It was
Madison Booker was
unbelievable.
4 for 23 or something like that.
I still got to say, they got to work on the competitive balance, though, of the NCAA tournament for women's hoops still.
Yeah.
They had more games decided by 20-plus points than decided by 10 or less.
That's a 14,
that's a problem.
14 and 15 seeds have never won the tournament, and a 16 seed has won once, but they want to expand the tournament.
Yeah, but I mean, no, they don't need. They need more competition inside the tournament.
Yes.
Now I will say, Dawn Staley, their team's gotten wrecked twice in a row in the tournament, and also we didn't even talk about it. But Gino R.M. was
my
being
goodness,
such
what a terrible moment
baby.
For him. Really bad moment for him.
It's embarrassing for him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
very much
terribly.
So.
Next up on What's Trending, there's a ton of names in the transfer portal already, as it will officially open this week. But the two locals of note so far, Kansas's Bryson Tiller and their center Paul Mbaya, have both entered the portal. And at least in Tiller's,
of course.
In Tiller's, yeah, and of course Tiller's case, he's going to be entertaining the NBA draft stuff as well.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. What's trending is brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, trusted in Kansas City since 1994. One contractor, all things parking lot. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we will talk more about the national title game tonight, including what Dan Hurley is potentially on the verge of doing with the win tonight. We'll discuss that a little bit in just a bit. But the Royals did wrap up their first homestand of the season. As you mentioned, they're in Cleveland tonight, and then it's going to be very cold in Cleveland, so they'll play day games tomorrow and Wednesday now. But the first homestand in the books, like overall, yeah, disappointing because there were some blown opportunities. I think there's a few things through 9 games now that stand out. Is A, the bullpen is a major problem right this second for them. Even yesterday when Lucas Erceg, someone you really trust, they were trying to keep the game within a run or so to give you an opportunity. He really struggled. Had a pitch, I think over 30 pitches yesterday that was not sharp. Matt Strahm struggled coming in on relief. We already knew earlier in the weekend there was some other problems. And I know Carlos Estevez is on the IL, and it's the right decision. He needs to get his velocity and command right. But I think this week has shown us, though, that still for this bullpen to be right, like they need somebody that can take hold of a crucial spot in this bullpen. And right now, nobody has been able to do that. Carlos last year was great. We all predicted regression this year. But as much as it was easy and jokes were flying on Twitter about Carlos after that Friday night game or Saturday night game that was terrible.
They need him to be good.
They need Carlos to be back and have the velocity back to what it was and be the closer for this team. Because right now, tell me who you want to be the closer. Everybody, 4 days ago, everybody said Erceg.
I still want it to be Erceg, despite yesterday's performance. I still think closers in non-save situations, even if they're not actual closers, which Erceg wasn't expected to be going into the start of the season, I still think that throws off the rhythm at least a little bit, but I still think he's their best option to do it until Carlos Estevez proves otherwise. Matt Strahm also had one rough outing where he couldn't find the strike zone. Look, the bullpen has easily been the biggest flawed issue, but the bullpen was the weakest unit going into the year. The bigger problem, even though the bullpen has been the biggest struggle, the bigger problem, despite the fact one has let them down more, is that Bobby and Vinny and Salvi aren't hitting well enough. Do I think they'll never hit at any point this season? No. I think you'd be really foolish to think that. The problem is, in order to avoid a very mediocre April, let's just say they're 15-15 at the end of the month, including the couple games they played in March, well, then those guys have to hit. Bobby doesn't have a homer yet. Vinny doesn't have a homer yet. Cags doesn't have a homer yet. And Cags is hitting pretty well, so we can talk about him in a minute. I don't want to, take away, although yesterday was his worst day at the office so far this season. You got to get more power and runs. You can't win. Some games you have to win 9-8. We said this a lot last year. Feels kind of like a broken record.
Yeah.
Because there's some similar quality and feeling to it. And so far, the early returns of the signings they've made, which maybe we can talk more about tomorrow, aren't exactly like raking, right? Like Lane Thomas has had a rough start to the season for the Royals. 9 games into it, mind you, and not even an everyday player. But I don't know. It's like I saw the text line earlier, like, well, not a playoff team. It's like, I don't know if that I've seen them play so bad that I'm just writing them off. That'd be insane. I still think there's some quality parts of this team that appeal to me. I just think the bullpen's let them down, and the middle part of the order hasn't produced enough. The bottom part of the order, if anything, should give you a little bit of confidence that if Isbell and, some of these guys are going to hit okay, that's better than what they got last year. It was a dead zone, 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah, the April stuff is why it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And it's still only April 6th, so the
And they're not
entire
2-7 like the Red
entire
Sox.
narrative of April can change very quickly if they go out there this week. They get the Guardians and then they have the White Sox. So you would like to think there's some opportunity this week to get things going. But yeah, Bobby Wood Jr. has not played like the MVP candidate yet. You mentioned Vinny. He has not done what you expected him to do. And in April, that's been a problem for him. And then Salvador Perez, while he's shown a little bit, still he's not revved up yet. You can clearly tell either. So that leads to an offense that looks right now very similar to a season ago. But I don't know how many times we can say it, but it's 9 games into the season. It's right now. There's a ton of similarities to a team a year ago.
Yeah,
and look, the roster for the most part is the same.
Yes. Well, so not surprising that I guess you would get similar results. It doesn't feel like, again, hopeless is insane. Like, it doesn't feel like that at all. It just feels like blah. That's how I feel about the first 9 games of the season. Very blah. I would love for him to have gotten the sweep against the Twins or gotten the series win against the Brewers. But the Brewers are going to go down as one of the best teams in baseball, and the Twins are going to go down as one of the worst, and they finished their homestand 500. You can't be 500 in every homestand.
Are the Brewers really going to be one of the best teams in baseball?
They won 97 games last year.
Look at the moves they made this offseason. Are we sure?
Yeah, I guess.
I think the Cubs might win that division. We'll see.
I mean, I'm
not saying they're bad. I don't know. One of the best in baseball. I don't know. They're off to a nice start, and they were a good team last year, but they've also moved on.
They're 7-2. They got the best record in the National League after 9 games.
Yeah.
They're
off to a great start,
and they won 97 games last year. I expect them to be good. They're the top scoring offense in baseball last year. This year they were the 3rd best scoring offense in baseball last year. So I expect them to be a problem. At the very least, it was their first test against what I would say is a really good baseball team. Maybe they're not one of the best, but a difficult one. And then you get Cleveland, who currently sits a couple games ahead of you in a very small sample size again in the division. But it's like, yeah, you're going to have to figure these things out against teams that are going to stand in your way. This is one of the teams who could stand in your way. It's just been kind of mediocre so far. On the Jack Caglione thing, I think on Friday it was because they benched Carter Jensen, and this seemed like the logical move. But he also hit 6th one other time this weekend, which is different than the 7th he has hit every other game this year that he's been in the lineup. I think they are soft launching the maybe Cags can be good enough to hit closer to the middle of the order. And they're trying to figure out if they're going to be able to get away with it. How much can they put on Cags before they're like, oh, you know what? Maybe hitting 6th or 7th is just fine. Because to start the year, he does look more comfortable. I know it's a weird thing to say coming off of yesterday in which he looked lost at the plate. One bad game can happen to anybody. Certainly has multiple times in the course of Major League Baseball history. But overall, he is hitting significantly better than at any point last year. And I do think that when he hit 5th on Friday, not just because they were clearly sitting Carter for an additional game, I was like, ooh. Or they played Carter. That's what it was. On Saturday, didn't it? Friday. Saturday, they played Carter Jensen. They had Cags at 5th in one of the games. And Carter hit 7th. I don't think that's insignificant, right? I think that because Carter Jensen's been the guy who's been more consistent, I think there's a little something there with Cags. I think they're testing how high can we comfortably put him in trust?
Yeah, I don't know if they're testing it or not. Long term, the goal is at some point that he's going to be batting higher in the order. Of course, we know that, and I
by
think
the end of this year,
it was a doubleheader on Saturday. So I don't know how different the lineups were purely based on that, knowing that they had 2 games to play. That's why I don't know if I put a ton of stock into it based off of that. The only thing that's been weird, I will say, you mentioned during What's Trending, Michael Massey getting called up after being on the IL and Nick Lofton getting sent down. It is weird, you have to admit, that we all knew Nick Lofton would be the player sent down for Massey. Yeah. But yet, in 9 games, Nick Lofton started 3?
Yeah, too many.
What like that's kind of weird. What's going? I mean,
it's obviously the righty lefty stuff.
I understand,
and it's also, but
come on,
but that is deeply concerning. There is some part of the math, and this goes back to the same thing. I am not anti-Q being we have an analytical approach to our lineups, but sometimes you got to talk to yourself. And we talk about this with like going for it on fourth down. There's got to be, if it's not a blend, it's not right. If there's not some logic in it, it's not right. And it's a 162 game season. I'm not saying that. But if you know your first send down is a player you're going to start yesterday. Started yesterday.
Yes, he did. And
you knew you were going to sit him down the next day. What are you doing?
And he was hesitant in left field. I think it cost him a run early in that game. First inning.
And that's maybe just been, right field's been significantly better because Cags have been better. Left field's been equally as bad. This by committee stuff, it ain't working so far. Collins has looked uncomfortable. Lane Thomas has looked uncomfortable in left and in center.
Massey's going to have an opportunity.
Looked uncomfortable.
I think Massey's going to have an opportunity in left. He was playing. Didn't he play left at least once or twice while he was in AAA for the?
He played it multiple times last year for the team.
But I'm talking about
multiple times in AAA. Yes,
rehab stint. But yes,
yeah. And so there's a part of it that certainly plays into that, and we'll see. I mean, it's still again, like you said early. I do really think that they are kind of briefly and tentatively trying to figure out if I think the best case scenario for them is by the end of the season, Jack Cagliano's hitting behind Salvador Perez. Even though I know that would mean that technically he's leapfrogged Carter Jensen in the batting order part. But Carter Jensen is still the only part-time catcher, and there'll be days that Carter Jensen misses time because of the, he's not catching that day and they need somebody else at DH, and there's going to be a little bit of movement in it. And so I think in the end it's best for them if both those guys really stay closer to the top of the order, just as by the end of the year would, give an idea that they're better on offense.
In 15 minutes, we'll talk more about tonight's national championship game, Michigan and UConn. Dan Hurley has a chance to put himself all alone, perhaps, in the college basketball world if he's able to pull that off tonight. There was some news that broke during the Chiefs Right Half Hour. We want to talk a little bit more about that. That was the Giants, maybe a pre-draft bombshell, honestly, because I don't think anybody expected a trade request. Dexter Lawrence.
All-pro.
Yeah, Dexter Lawrence, our all-pro defensive tackle. He's 28 years old. Remember, John Harbaugh regime is beginning, and so he doesn't have ties to the organization, or at least the new regime, I should say. He requested a trade according to Adam Schefter and will be skipping the voluntary portion of the offseason program. Here's the quote from the report. It says, major reversal. He wanted to be a lifetime Giant and join the Ring of Honor. When asked before last season about dealing with years of losing, he signed a 4-year, $90 million extension during the 2023 season, but has not been happy to see some big pieces of the Giants' core traded away since then, or at least cut, including close friends, Saquon Barkley, Julian Love, and Leonard Williams. He is basically the 11th highest paid defensive tackle in football right now. Last year only had like a half sack. The year before had 9.
He's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league. Not everybody's a sack guy like Chris Jones on the interior. He's an all-pro for a reason. He will be, I assume, highly sought after. I fear the signing of Tonga would make it less likely in Kansas City to try to execute that trade.
Yeah, they don't really need to.
But I will say, they need defensive line help.
Yeah, but if all of a sudden Dexter Lawrence, interior, Chris Jones, Tonga, and Dexter Lawrence, what scheme are you running?
I think occasionally Chris Jones bounces to the outside for some of those snaps, and then the interior ones between the normal break and snaps, the percentage of snaps that guys like Chris Jones and Dexter Lawrence take off, you make the difference.
What do we think the compensation would be? So, draft capital wise, because salary wise, he's got $27 million this year that he's getting paid. And then he'll next year get paid $26.4, and then he's a free agent. So it's 2 years, and then you don't have to pay the guy once he's done with his age 30 season. So, for 2 years of Dexter Lawrence.
Or you could pay him because then Chris Jones might be at the end of his.
You could, but do I want to? I don't know if I want to give an extension to a player.
That's fair.
At that point, that's not even a homegrown talent. Draft wise. What are the Giants getting for him? And do they actually trade him? They don't have to trade him. That's the other part of this whole thing.
Yeah. Requesting a trade does not do it. At least a second? It's an all-pro player in their 20s, right? So a second? It's never as high as you think. I'll admit that. I understand. But if you could still get a third for at least mediocre or medium players.
SpotTrack says the new team would actually only pay $20 million this year, $19.5 million in 2027.
I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing a second.
And maybe, I don't know. Does he want an extension? Usually money's always behind these decisions too. So that's the trickier
and defensive
part.
tackle just got a big jump.
Yeah.
If anything, it'd actually be easier for the Chiefs to give him an extension because then at least you can kick some of the can of the cap hit down the road. I don't think you can invest this amount on your interior defensive line. So I do not think it's a fit for the Chiefs. But if you're any defensive line hungry team, Dexter Lawrence is a must call. Cincinnati, Drew, this is a must call. If you need defensive line help, if an all pros on the street who plays 70% of the snaps and can rush the passer, you call.
Yeah,
you find out.
Are they willing to pay though? Because it might come with a pretty big extension on top of it.
Yeah, it might. It might. And for a player like that, I'd probably risk it. This is the other part. He plays 16 games a year every year, without a doubt. He plays 70% of the snaps every year, no question. That man's on the field, he is available, and he's an all-pro for a reason. Like, that is just the kind of player who you can count on being available for you. And so, like, if that's not going to be the case, I don't know how you could not be tempted, I guess.
Yeah, if you think he's still the same player.
From the 913, trade Chris Jones for Lawrence in a third.
So, wait. No, why am I trading my all-pro? Why are we just moving
and
chairs on the Titanic?
Why would the Giants accept that either?
I mean, Chris Jones been a better player.
I know, but at this point, he's also a couple of years older. Dexter is 28. Chris is how old now? 32?
31? Maybe 32 by the time the season starts?
Chris Jones. 31 and 32 July 3rd. So yeah, I'll be 32 to start of the season.
Up until this last season, he was just a regular NFL player. The 5 previous seasons, he was either a first or second team All-Pro. The two teams he was a second team All-Pro, Aaron Donald still existed.
I wonder if the Giants actually might take that trade because you got Abdul Carter, you got Kayvon Thibodeau still over there.
Yeah, they probably would.
That defense is
should
nasty.
Just keep Dexter Lawrence though. They already got him under contract.
It was Thibodeau that I thought that could be on the market for them.
Yeah, that was that.
Like Dexter Lawrence wasn't the one I was expecting them to move. I kind of thought Thibodeau might be the guy who would be available. Just knowing that
if Thibodeau is available, if you're the Chiefs,
that's a much better fit.
That's a different conversation. Yeah.
You're like, hey, instead of trading Dexter Lawrence, you want to trade a different defensive lineman? Screw that guy's wants, needs, desires. Just let him, tell him to kick rocks. He signed a contract and give us the other guy instead. Former first-round pick, Brett Veach has thought about Kayvon Thibodeau at least being on the team.
Here's the teams that have a lot of cap space. Because you mentioned, like, hey, who do you want to watch that's a contender in the AFC where this could end up being a bad thing and impact things? The Chargers still have a lot of cap space, guys. The Chargers, AFC West team, of course, an AFC contender. They have, according to Spotrac, $48 million still in cap space. So the Chargers could be prepared to pull off a trade like that if they want to just bolster their defensive line. They lost their defensive coordinator, as we know. So maybe that's a team. Another team that's a contender that has a ton of space. Patriots still have $35 million. I'm just talking about AFC teams. The Ravens already went out and obviously acquired a defensive lineman and Trey Hendrickson. I doubt they're going to be in the Dexter Lawrence market, but they got $29 million in cap space. Colts sitting at $26 million. Just looking at some of the other AFC teams, at least. Broncos, another AFC. They got 18.7. That defense is already ridiculous. If all of a sudden they added a Dexter Lawrence, that'd be.
It does feel like the NFL free agency, and it probably will up until the draft now, it screeched to a halt. I know that it always slows down. I just don't remember a time in which it feels like we go like a full week with like a signing. And then everybody else is just still a free agent. Jawan Jennings still a free agent. Cam Jordan still a free agent. Everybody wants to see how this draft plays out before they go out and start dipping their toe in the who do we sign department, apparently. But at least interesting from that end. It's not that I don't, again, he has been one of the best on-field interior pass rushers in the league. He's not as good as Chris Jones, but he's been one of the better ones. So I imagine there would be
I'm still not 100% sold he gets traded either. Dexter Lawrence. I think there's a lot of this is the guy wants a new contract and
he's going to say trade me.
He's now saying I'm not going to show up and it's a new regime and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I guess that's the other part too, Gold. You're right. They got to actually, maybe this is just a play for money from the Giants. Giants are like a fun team to be on this year. There's some optimism around
they're a dark horse contender in the East. They're the 5-1. They got the worst odds to win the division. I think if the Eagles regress a little bit, that division is, I don't want to say wide open, but it's very, very
putting hit pieces out about their quarterback. They seem like a regression candidate at some point.
And I can't figure out the Commanders. They're either going to compete for the title or they're going to be terrible. I don't know which one. I get the Commanders are such a wild card in their own division. Okay.
I think we
Let's see who they
out-
drafted 8 or 7 or whatever it
I
is.
still think Jaden Daniels is pretty good. I just think I think going into the season, I thought this last year, same thing. I still think Jaden Daniels is so good, we forgot that their roster had major problems and that it takes a few years to solve those problems. Maybe next year, like a year after the season, I think you could talk me into them a little bit if they show some promise this year, but I'm not optimistic it's all just turning around for the Commanders this year.
All right, up next, let's talk about the national title game tonight. Michigan, UConn. What Dan Hurley is doing puts him in some elite company, plus the random question of the day right here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
It's time to get back to feeling like yourself. Look, maybe that low energy. Maybe you were trying to play basketball with your kid this weekend and just felt tired and sleepy and don't feel the same, low sex drive. All of those things can be signs of low testosterone. If you're looking for TRT that's flexible enough for your lifestyle, well, then the Low T Center is the #1 name in TRT. So choose those testosterone shots, pills. You could pay with insurance or out of pocket. Pretty much make it your choice so you can figure out how that treatment works best for you. It can be shipped directly to your door. You can do online or in-person appointments. The point is, you have no excuse but to take care of yourself. And now Low T Center is offering new peptides, new treatments, and more. So you can find out more by going to lowtcenter.com. Book your free testosterone test today at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
CertaPro Painters recently painted my home and exceeded my expectations. I booked a free estimate, reviewed a detailed proposal, and scheduled my project on the spot. When you choose CertaPro Painters, you're partnering with trusted local professionals with over 70,000 five-star reviews. Ask about their spring sales event for 10% off qualifying projects through May 15th. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in KC. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
DQ presents the Blizzard Double Flip Deal. For a limited time, when you buy one Blizzard treat, you get a second for just 99 cents. That's 2 Blizzards, 2 spoons, 2 flavors, and 2 flips. So don't miss out on the Blizzard Double Flip Deal, available only for a limited time and happening now at DQ. Because the only thing better than a Blizzard treat is a second Blizzard treat for just 99 cents. It's a deal to flip for. The Blizzard Double Flip Deal. Participation may vary.
Warmer weather, longer days, and a juicy steak sizzling on the fire. Ah, smells like grilling season is here. Stock up and save big this Friday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. Choose bacon-wrapped chicken grillers for $3.99 each. Marinated chicken breasts, $1.99. Thick-cut pork chops, 3 for $5. And specialty brats, just 8 for $10. Don't forget your favorite marinade, rubs, and sauces, and fire up the grill this Friday through Sunday, only at Hy-Vee.
Hy-Vee makes our life easier every single day. Not only do they have great quality customer service and value every single day at Hy-Vee, they help us out and they take the pressure of shopping off our plate. We've got our Perks Plus membership. We upgraded from the regular Hy-Vee Perks membership because with Perks Plus, we get free grocery delivery or express pickup, plus even more exclusive benefits and savings like fuel saver deals all day long. So enroll today at Hy-Vee.com/perks. Only at Hy-Vee.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again. So call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Whether you're digging a pond, clearing brush, grading land, or doing demo,
Foley Equipment, your local Caterpillar dealer, is your one-stop shop. Buy or rent, Foley Equipment has the machines you need to get the job done. And right now, Foley Equipment has 0% financing with approved credit on new cat skid steers, mini excavators, and compact track loaders. Stop in today to any Foley Equipment location or visit us at FoleyEQ.com. That's FoleyEQ.com.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This report is brought to you by CM Mose & Son, HVAC, Plumbing, and Electrical Services, cmmosandson.com.
Dispatch, this is Mindy at CM Mose & Son.
Coming to terms with a dying AC unit is tough. If you need to replace your AC, visit cmmoseandson.com to schedule your free estimate. CM Mose & Son. License 202919. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Back here on Cody and Gold. Hope your Monday is off to a great start here in KC. We're having a good time here on 96.5 The Fan. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get to the random question of the day in about 8 minutes or so. Don't forget, video stream is up and running on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and X. Also, the Jay Southland Tow Service text line always open, 913-586-7965. Tonight, we got to wait till 7:50 for it, but the national title game in Indy. It's Michigan. It's UConn. We can get our final picks on that if we want in a second. But I think we all had Arizona winning. And maybe you thought it was going to be very close because it was setting up to be an all-time matchup. I don't know anybody, even the most diehard Michigan fan, that thought Michigan from start to finish was going to boat race Arizona, who was one of the best teams in the country the entire season. I know Michigan, you could say, well, they were one of the best teams. I understand. But Michigan doing that to other teams during the regular season, to me, is not the same as what they just did in a national semifinal to Arizona. That was one of the most impressive wins in a national semifinal we've seen in a long, long time. It's one of the larger deficits margins of victory, I should say, that we've seen in a while in a national semifinal.
It looked like a 15 seed versus a 2. I mean, they handled what I thought was the best team in college basketball much of this season, and they stomped them. Like, it wasn't just the win. It had been an impressive win anyway, because I think these are the two best teams. And you and I had said de facto national championship game, and kind of a heavyweight fight and all the things we were hoping for going into that game. At the under 12-minute timeout in the second half, there was no point of even having that game on anymore. There was nothing left to watch. The game was over. It was long over. It was probably over long before that, and we all knew it was over before that. Sometimes you just give yourself this hope that maybe like the way UConn came from behind, there was some magical run in Arizona, but there wasn't. There wasn't. They eventually just kind of went out and did it. So it's hard. It's really weird because this is a game tonight where I think it's hard either way to predict the other team to lose. And that, how am I going to choose Michigan to lose when they just did that to Arizona?
Sure.
Other than they've got a couple of injuries, and so maybe they're not going to be quite as healthy going into the game as normal. But then how do I also predict against UConn, who I continuously predict against and think that they will lose, and all they ever do is win? Just constantly win, Gold, even when it doesn't look like the matchup favors them, even when they are underdogs. They win that game, too, on their path to maybe be a third-time champion in just 4 years. And so I've just counted them a number of times during this run, this total run, where I didn't think they had a good enough team to win the title. And they clearly do a lot of times. So I guess I should expect a close game tonight.
I hope it's
Kinda
close.
hope
I mean,
we get a close game tonight.
7.5 point spread is actually a fairly decent margin for a national title game. But Dan Hurley's why, and UConn's got a shot tonight.
Yeah.
Dan Hurley's why. I mean, you ran off the numbers earlier of where he is at this point in his college career in the tournament. There's nobody that's been a better tournament coach in, I would argue, this century than Dan Hurley.
Yeah,
I'm not even talking like bigger picture, like over. I'm talking in the tournament in particular, which I'm not even just saying, well, yeah, guys, he's got 3 national titles if he wins tonight. I'm just saying Coach K already has, and Coach K has 5. I'm talking about just come tournament time, his teams are better prepared. Brad Underwood's a hell of a coach at Illinois, but Dan Hurley had the coaching edge because he's been there before. And I think it's a massive advantage even tonight going up against Dusty May. But I don't know, does UConn have enough to get it actually done against Michigan? Michigan would have to shoot the ball a hell of a lot worse than they did the other night. And there's a chance in college basketball we see this where a team plays out of their mind almost, and then the next night, 48 hours later, they just can't make a bucket.
Yeah,
that would not be the craziest thing tonight.
No, it wouldn't stun me by any means. I just, at this stage, I guess, I hope for a good game in the sense that we love spending time talking about when games are close in sports, and then we love trashing when games aren't close. So I don't want to make it seem like that, but, you know, of the final 7 games, the 4 we get in the Elite 8, the 2 we get in the Final 4, and then the 1 tonight, we've had 2 good ones so far. 2 out of 6. So as much as the tournament had some good games early, and we're talking about, ooh, look at the Sweet 16 we got, the Elite 8 had 2 good games, the Final 4 had 0. And so, like, for tonight's sake, I do kind of hope the championship game is good because that's part of the selling point of it's the good teams now will get better games in the championship rounds. And it could just be a year in which we don't get it. I don't want to make it seem like this is an indictment on the entire NIL era or anything too big for that. But it'd be nice if we got, like, a strong close versus what seemed like a pretty strong start from the NCAA tournament, and it's fizzling out in the close game department. Because even, like, look, that UConn game, I know you could watch it in the sense that you could think that at any point Illinois could go on a 9-2 run and make it a game.
They clawed all the way back before half, and then UConn went on another run, and Illinois closed it up again. They closed.
That game wasn't close. It was never particularly
Illinois took the lead with like 8 minutes left to go in the game.
It never felt like a good game at any stage, even at that point, even at the 8-minute mark. Because they held the lead for 30 seconds.
But
and then never held it again. And then it was 10 points by the time, at the under 8, maybe it was 30, but by the 6-minute mark, it was a 10-point game again. Drew, it was a good game for 10 seconds. That doesn't make it a good game.
I think we really draw I don't know where the line is, but we draw the line at good game versus bad game. A game could be a game could be outstanding. And then in the last 3 minutes, it falls apart a little bit, and then if you're losing, well, you have to foul, and then they make 2 free throws, you miss a bucket, you have to foul again, they make 2 more free throws, and all of a sudden it's a 12-point lead instead of a 7-point. I agree
with that. I don't know if that's what that game was, but I do agree with what you said. Like, that does happen. I don't know if that's what happened in the Illinois-UConn game.
UConn was in control. Illinois climbed back. Then UConn got out to the lead again at half, and then Illinois took the lead in the second half of the game, and then UConn ended up just kind of taking over late, and they found a way to get it done. I think the game, it was just a game of runs in that game, and UConn held the sizable gap. They had more big runs, I suppose.
I'm trying to see at what point. I just want to remember now, because like I watched the game.
I threw out 8 minutes. I don't know exactly, but I know that Illinois took the lead at one point in the game. I think I don't know if it was Wagler or Ivicic hit a 3, and they took the lead.
So it was a 10-point game pretty much the entire time. I don't think they took the lead, Drew. No, I don't think they ever took the lead. It got close, but I don't think not in the second half. Like, I'm looking at the scoring now. They never took the lead in the second half. It got closer. Like, it got within 4 for a brief period of time. The closest it got in the second half was when it was 53-57, but it was still, at that time,
with 4 minutes to go, UConn.
Oh, you might have been right. I apologize.
It was a 4-point game with a minute 30 left. That's a good game.
UConn was scoreless for more than 4 minutes to get it to 57-53 in the second half, and that's what Illinois was able to do.
Illinois didn't take the lead. It was a 4-point game with a minute and a half to go. To say that it resulted in a bad, I don't know what else. I think we're really nitpicking if it's a 4-point game with a minute 30 left and the game, and we say the game wasn't good.
In a but with 2:40 to go, it was a 9-point game.
Yeah, and they closed the gap to 4.
But it's
that's everything that you want, I think, late in a Final Four game.
No, because this is and there's just a difference in, the problem is with 2.5 to go. If it's a 9-point game, the game's over.
It's not.
The only way, not always. I understand that there's still games that come, but it was a 10 to 15 point deficit the entire time. For one brief moment in the game, they got it within 4 points, and then 38 seconds later, it was a 7-point game again. It's
that's basketball, though.
But that's not a close game. We can disagree. How can you say that was a close game?
With 3 minutes left, they were down by 5. I think you're crazy. If it's a 5-point game and with 3 minutes left, you are crazy if you say that game is not close.
Do you think that game was close, Gold? I'm just curious. If I said, hey, that was a close game on Saturday night against UConn and Illinois, do you think it's a close game? I'm just curious.
I did not think it was a close game, no.
If a team was within 5 points with 3 minutes left, if that's not a close game in basketball, then we can never say that football within if it's a 10-point game with 7 minutes left, that game's over then.
In fairness,
I think it's crazy to say.
I think there's a lot of context that is required in there, which is for 95% of the game, it was a 10 to 15 point game. And then for 90 seconds of game time, it was a 4-point game, and it still ended as a 9-point deficit. So for the 40 minutes of basketball action, it was a points-wise close game for maybe 95 seconds of the game. And for every other point of the game, there wasn't a 10-point shot they could hit to tie it. I don't even think they possessed the ball with a chance to tie it. How was that a close game? They never held the basketball with a chance to tie the game. It was never 4 is as close as it ever got at any point in the game.
So a 4-point game is not close then. Evan, is what you're saying.
Not if the entire game you never possessed the basketball with a chance to tie the basketball game.
I think that's insane.
And it wasn't that. It wasn't a 4-point game the entire game.
But. That is crazy to me.
But you're just saying if it's a 4-point game, if it's 4-4 in the first half, is it a close game?
That's like if the Chiefs were playing catch up the whole game and they got it within 4 points, or they got it within 8 points, or they got it within 9 with 7 minutes. I think that's.
All right, let's.
I think that's nuts.
Let's move on. I was gonna let you guys just keep going.
I just don't.
I was gonna
curious.
let you guys go, and I was gonna go run to the vending machine.
I just think we've had this concept this whole tournament where if sometimes basketball happens and you can explain it by basketball happening and not saying that a game is close when it's been single digits throughout. I understand that UConn was in control for a vast majority of that game, but if it's 3 minutes left and it's a 5-point game, that game is close.
All right. Random question today. Let's do it.
Random question.
Everybody views it a little different. This is one that I don't think Drew's. I don't think he's correct, but
we're already done. Move on.
Don't think he's
we're
on the
already
other
done.
Side, you know?
Each one of you said you were done, and you each kept going.
Somebody said. Somebody says now make Cody talk about one shining moment again. I still think it's stupid.
One shining moment's great. Anyway,
I agree
it's
with
great.
that. One shining moment is mid.
We're back.
Oh my goodness.
Way overrated. They put some dumbass song on some basketball highlights.
Okay.
I'd rather watch some mid-2000s and one mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Pass. Not even interested. Won't watch a single second of one shining moment tonight. For you, Gold, for you, Drew. Over on the text line 913-586-7965. And, of course, on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, where we live stream the show every single day. If you'd like to like and subscribe on those channels, pop to the top of your feed so you don't miss a single moment over on those platforms. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I had a separate YouTube channel pulled up of the Artemis
Okay.
Fly by.
Oh, you're already locked in.
Oh, locked in. They're like 20 minutes away from setting the record from being the furthest away from the moon.
Nice.
And then they'll get close so they can do the super close flyby. I think everybody's talking about around an hour. Or
Super close flyby.
Or what? Close by standards, probably hundreds of thousands of miles. I don't know what the exact distance is. But that's not what my question about. Believe it or not, it is college basketball related, which might get me in some more trouble.
Oh, boy.
It's actually not college basketball. It's more sporting event related.
Okay.
On Saturday, there was some open mocking, and I think fairly so, of the Chainsmokers concert that was taking place in between the two Final Four games. It was awful. They looked hungover or tired or something, and it did not make for a particularly enjoyable concert. But that brought me to the question I'm going to ask you today is, does anybody, other than I want to make a one-time exception for the Super Bowl halftime show, does anybody who is viewing these games, these sporting events, the World Series, the NCAA tournament, does anybody want these concerts? Because I don't, and I don't need them anymore. I have decided that sporting events no longer also need to be concerts. I would like these to go away.
So no
After
Super Bowl
watching
either?
that one, I said I'll make an exception for the Super Bowl halftime show, but the pregame concert, that can kick rocks too. I don't need the pregame show by Post Malone. I don't need these in-between concerts by the Chainsmokers. I don't need these concerts around the sporting events.
What's the issue
I'm
with
saying
it?
you want them. If they went away, would you care?
No.
Yes,
But I also don't.
That's my
But I
stance.
also. But I
You don't have to
also.
hate it.
But
if
I
they
also
went away,
don't
would you
care.
And you said no
Yeah,
so
like
fast.
I think if you're in Indianapolis and you live there and you're not going to the game, but you want to be around the festivities, maybe that's for you, right?
Yeah.
On TV, a lot of those just never play well to begin with. It's the same thing with like the New Year's Eve concerts they have on the countdown shows or whatever. Those are all terrible to watch on television.
Yeah,
they all
those are-
stink.
Look, it's not an ideal environment. I just who decided I need a full blown, cat's eye.
I also didn't
concert
even know it
before
was
this thing starts.
Chainsmoker. I wasn't paying attention. I was at the bar that we were watching the first game, and then everybody was just talking, and we looked on the screen. I guess I saw somebody performing. I didn't even know what was going on. They turned the volume down during that swap on the TVs at the bar and put on other music, and then turned the
So they
announcers back on.
legitimately just took the whole sound down and said, we're not going to force you guys to listen
Absolutely.
to the Chainsmokers in between these games. Here's some regular bar music. We'll get back to the broadcast here in a minute. I'm just asking, would anybody miss it if they were gone? Drew, would you miss these in sporting events, concerts, if they just didn't exist anymore?
No, I know.
Yeah, nobody
I
wants
would.
these.
I would have missed it. I thought it was weird that they did it in between the games, though. Because normally you've got like the half hour in between the games. It felt like it was longer. It was more like 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm not saying it threw off anything between Arizona and Michigan, but just the concept of it. If you want to put it before the game, then great, But the in between the games thing, or like if they did it at halftime of the game tonight, kind of like the way the Super Bowl does it, at least have some sort of, I don't know, not that it wasn't planned. I think I saw too that
It's like production at the Super Bowl, man. They're not
Yeah,
just
yeah,
sticking them on
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah. A
couple of
stage or whatever.
risers they
Right,
stuck
correct.
up in between the stadiums for half a second with some PA system, some high school band slapped together. I understand it's better than that, but the quality doesn't come off like it's better than that.
Yeah,
it felt like that
didn't-
tiny amphitheater trying to put a fake Arrowhead renovation they didn't even
It
want.
definitely wasn't promoted like the Super Bowl, of course not. But yeah, I didn't realize the Chainsmokers were performing until the moment they were about to play, essentially.
Yeah. From the 816, it said, my wife likes the little concert on TV. Do you think that this is for the non-sports fan to loop them in? There's things in
To
broadcast.
a certain extent.
The Inside Out hockey game took place. The Disney version, right, of a hockey game took place.
The Inside Out
Is that-
hockey game.
Like
There was-
Disney on Ice?
NHL had one of those
Yeah.
cartoon hockey games.
Oh, like the broadcast, like the Nickelodeon type broadcast.
but they
okay.
did they did like a
Gotcha.
a
I'm
different
following.
Disney movie.
I'm following.
Are these concerts for just like, hey, non-sports fan, please? Can I interest you in some music, perhaps? Versus, the basketball you don't want to watch?
I mean, it's the same thing someone points out, too. It's on Thanksgiving, in Dallas, they have a little halftime show. It was Post Malone this year or last year.
Yeah, I don't need it. I don't need it on the Thanksgiving Day game. I don't need the pre-show, halftime. I don't want any of them. Other than the Super Bowl halftime show, which is the one that I think the kind of production they put into it, they've at least got me. I'm at least hooked in for a little bit. It is a spectacle. It is something.
I don't think they do it for, I'll be honest, I don't think they do it for the non-sports fan because there's not, is this enough for me to watch? I don't know.
There's a reason why they do it on Thanksgiving. They know a bunch of non-NFL fans are watching.
For me to watch an hour worth of basketball for a 5-minute concert, I don't think as a non-sports fan that would be worth it. Where at least with the Super Bowl, you have the commercials along with the halftime show too.
And it's at least 12 minutes long. I don't know how long that halftime show. I mean, but it was bad. I also think that I think the artists don't really like doing these, and I get it. We've all taken a check. I don't even think they genuinely like them, but it shows that way. Like Scott Van Pelt crushed him. Like everybody mocked it.
It just wasn't it. Yeah, it just didn't. This is the first time they've done this, I think, too. They just don't need to do it.
Like it's just, I guess some of it's just like, who asked for this? Did we all vote and decided we wanted little mini concerts, like 12 minutes concerts with our sporting events? I just think what you realize, Gold, I'm with you, is that, and like we already talked about all the other things we throw off, right, in sports. Someone says this is what they like about championship soccer. They already have to play in a Final Four arena. They gotta they gotta shoot in a football stadium, right? All the other challenges, and then I gotta sit on the sideline longer so I can watch the chain smokers knock out a short set.
That's why I would do it. If you want to do it before the games, great. Or after the games. You can even do a post-game show. Fine.
Like when Shaq Diesel does the Power and Light after the Big 12 tournament, right?
DJ Khaled.
DJ
Khaled just did it. That was fun.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I was like, DJ Khaled.
He was just at T-Mobile or at P&L.
It was the Shaq the year before. I think it's great for the people who are there. I'm sure the people who get to see like a little show before, I'm sure it's fine for them. Just don't televise it. Do the concert.
As someone that sings, I'm shocked. As someone that's out here putting together songs on this show, I'm shocked you're anti other people performing. Huh. That's kind of shocking.
I want performance in the correct setting. You know?
Okay.
Not stuck out on some terrible set halfway between a stadium. And not like a concert where like the Royals do maybe one or two a year that are like after the game. October! I hope they're playing in October this year. I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that back in my life. Will you watch at 1:45? Will you oh yeah! Will you? You can't play it in short bits. It's way too much in short bits. It's like aggressive. It needs to be played out if you play that one. That one can't be played in spurts. It's no good. At 1:40, you guys want to all lock in so we can at least say whether or not we're impressed by the flyby of the moon for Artemis, because then they're just coming back, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Right in the middle of the show. How are we supposed to do that?
I'm not going
to just have it briefly pulled up. That's all.
And what? Give play-by-play?
I don't know.
They're still
how's
flying.
that work like a sporting event?
They're still
flying. It looks like they're closer to the moon right now.
As a matter of fact, when you guys do
the
that,
photos after are cooler.
Yeah,
they take those high-res ones.
When you guys do that, I'll pull up like a Hans Zimmer soundtrack or something like that from like Interstellar, where it sounds like a spacious space.
Yeah, you got to give me the Space Odyssey. Doom, 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 dum.
I'll give you some Interstellar there, huh?
I was talking about Space Odyssey, or there's several choices. Space music we're not going to be short on. I'm assuming they forced them to play some of this. Yeah, Star Wars. There's a million choices. There's been a lot of anything from the space race era where they were talking about "Fly Me to the Moon" by Frank Sinatra.
Honestly,
that's pretty much the
that or
right in the wheelhouse.
Just play "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel because he mentions the space race in there too.
I always feel kind of tough with that song because hasn't he spent a big chunk of his career openly admitting he thinks that song is stupid and he should have never done it?
I did it. There was a high school project that we had based on that song. An entire 9 weeks was based on
what?
We Didn't Start the Fire. So what happened was we had I don't know if people have that here.
We got some breaking news, but go ahead.
Oh,
actually, it's not as important as the breaking news.
Okay,
so
what's the breaking news? We'll learn about his project later.
According to Pete Thamel, North Carolina intends to hire longtime NBA head coach Michael Malone as the school's next basketball coach. Yeah,
Michael Malone.
What? Yes, of course, was with the Nuggets. Remember, got fired. Surprisingly, he was been doing some ESPN analyst work. Has won over 500 games in the NBA. But this is according to Pete Thamel. Wow. North Carolina intends to hire Michael Malone, longtime NBA coach. So they were clearly targeting, other than Tommy Lloyd, NBA coaches, because Billy Donovan at Chicago with the Bulls said that he would not talk to North Carolina until the season was over. Now, the Bulls season is about to end in 2 weeks or whatever, but that is clearly on the high, part of their list, a priority list was NBA guy. We've talked about KU with Jock Vaughn. Are we going to start seeing the next era of roster management? So are we going to see more NBA guys going and coaching college basketball?
I'll say this feels very anti-North Carolina. He hasn't coached in college since he coached at Manhattan as an assistant in 1999.
For North Carolina to hire him, it's very interesting.
Yes.
Not like some school. North Carolina.
Michael Malone is a very good basketball coach, and I would be very excited to see what he does. But in terms of North Carolina doing it, yes, I am surprised, shocked by this move.
Yeah, this came out of nowhere.
Yes.
I mean,
did anybody even mention his name?
No. This was a stunner. Again, they were targeting an NBA coach.
It was only Billy Donovan.
That was it.
That quote unquote made, because all the parallels, Cody. He coached at Florida, won national titles, has been there more recently. Obviously, was a head coach in college. It all fit what North Carolina. Also, the bigger name, North Carolina. It made sense. Very surprising. Very surprising.
Yeah, that's weird.
Obviously, I mean, he's got the pedigree, though, of a guy that if you were going to go and pick somebody from the NBA, his success in the NBA would make some sense as to why you might be interested a little bit.
Let's talk more about this on the other side. Again, some breaking news. North Carolina intending to hire former Denver Nuggets basketball coach, longtime NBA coach, an NBA champion, won over 500 games. Michael Malone going to be the next head coach for the Tar Heels. Let's discuss that some more next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Getting engaged? So friends, listen up. Shane Company engagement rings are protected with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family. Because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Is your garage door too loud and whining for help? Overhead Door Company of Kansas City will make it all better. They will perform their full 26-task garage door tune-up for just $79. That's just $79 for up to 3 garage doors and openers. You need this done once a year, so why not now? And for just $79. Call Overhead Door Company of Kansas City at 816-221-0072 or schedule online at overheaddoorkc.com.
The final college basketball game is tonight, and FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost. Build a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout, or try live betting and jump in after tip-off. And best of all, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. Just visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. That's FanDuel.com/local to claim your first profit boost and keep the action going from now to the big championship game tonight. Take advantage of the FanDuel College Basketball Profit Boost to build a parlay or use it with live betting after tip-off during tonight's championship game. Remember, go to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, play your game. FanDuel Sportsbook's the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and over in President, Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Rex here with Rex Buys KC. I get it. Selling your house can sometimes feel overwhelming or scary, right? I've seen it too many times. A homeowner thought they had a deal, only to have the buyer back out at the last minute. That's not how we do business at Rex Buys KC. I'm local, I know Kansas City, and I make sure every deal actually closes like it's supposed to. No hidden fees, no showings, no last-minute surprises, just a fair cash offer and a process you can count on. We buy homes in any condition and judgment-free. So whether your house needs repairs or you just want a fast, hassle-free sale, we can make it happen. If you want certainty, transparency, and someone local who actually delivers, call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time. 816-330-6000 or rexbuyskc.com.
At Telly Tire, when it comes to car problems, we've heard it all. From tires to timing belts to faulty air conditioning. Ooh. At Telly Tire and Auto Centers, we've been fixing problems like these and customers' bad days for over 80 years. So relax and take it to Telly. Schedule your service at tellytire.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
No one likes having to choose. That's why with America's best lineup of hybrids from Hyundai, you get the best of both worlds. Like the reliable and efficient Tucson Hybrid with America's best warranty. Or the stylish yet capable Santa Fe Hybrid with power to navigate the toughest terrain. It's like having your cake and eating it too. You know, if you could drive a cake. Hybrids from Hyundai. It's the best of both worlds. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
Springfest is happening now at Lowe's. Keep the spotlight on your yard with Stay Green Premium 2 cubic foot mulch, 5 bags for $10. Plus, when you want more help indoors, get up to 40% off select major appliances that help you supercharge your chores. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid to 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. Ethos.com/game. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Draft coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here for wherever you are. That's the benefit of blue.
What's up, KC? It's Chris Bubich. Tune in all season long to the play-by-play with Denny, Jake, Brian, and Stu right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
The new version of the song was not great. Did you guys hear like the updated? There was like a newer one. It played on the radio a little bit.
That was going back to our conversation we were having during the random question of the day. All right, 1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. If you're just joining us, we mentioned it right before we went to break. The breaking news in the sports world is that North Carolina reportedly has found their next men's basketball coach, and it came out of nowhere. That is former NBA head coach Michael Malone. According to Pete Thamel, will become the next North Carolina basketball coach. Won a championship with the Nuggets, was there in the 2022-2023 season, did that, won 510 games as an NBA coach. Some people now during the break on social media have mentioned that I guess his daughter is a volleyball player at North Carolina, so maybe that's part of the reason why he's also was interested initially in going to North Carolina. I'm more fascinated by what does it mean for where college basketball is trending. Is this a one-off, or is this something to keep an eye on? Look, I think we all expect at a program like North Carolina or Duke or Kansas or Kentucky that you can go get the big-name college coach. But as we discussed last week, even prior to Bill Self announcing he was coming back, and then Tommy Lloyd saying he was turning down UNC, is it a different era of college basketball to where these guys are willing to stay at a top-tier program that's maybe not the blue blood, like Tommy Lloyd is? And we know Jock Vaughn is on the KU bench, and people have, certainly thought that maybe he's the heir apparent at some point for Bill Self.
Sure.
Now that North Carolina is going the NBA route as well, they were interested in Billy Donovan, the Bulls head coach. So this was clearly the type of coach they wanted.
National champion,
I totally understand. But with NIL and with the way you manage rosters and the roster turnover year after year, trying to get a roster to play together that's completely different the next year because you bring in different pieces or whatever in the portal, is this where we're going to see some programs at least experiment with? Clearly North Carolina is, which is this idea of like, no, we need more of an NBA coach because this is basically a semi-pro thing we're doing.
That could be UNC's line of thinking. They obviously hired a former professional coach for football, too.
Well, yeah.
So maybe as a university or an AD or athletic department, maybe that's just the way that they view it. That certainly could be the case.
Like, is he better than Hubert Davis?
It's really just,
They fired Hubert Davis, and they ended up with Michael Malone.
I can't guarantee that based on the early success out of Hubert Davis. I guess this is the thing. I think it's one of two things. It is either what you're describing, and a team, a major program, one of the 5 biggest in all of the sport, is going outside the box, and they're saying, hey, this thing runs like a pro team now. We're going to run it like a pro team. We're going to let everybody else handle the behind-the-scenes stuff. Get players, recruit, do all this other stuff. And this man is just going to coach 13 basketball players, and he's going to make them good. And as a former NBA guy, used to talent and personalities and guys who are paid, he can handle it. Or it's what I also think might be happening and might be a, not reckoning, but like a learning lesson for schools like Kansas, who might be looking for a new head coach soon, which is maybe getting the coach of your dreams isn't as easy as it used to be, even at the big schools. Maybe it's not as simple as it used to be, which was when you were Kansas 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and you wanted a coach, you could list off the 3 best coaches in college basketball who weren't coaching at one of the other 5 or 6 blue bloods, and you just say, them, hey, Dusty May, you're a coach now. And he's like, okay, I'll come on down to Kansas. See you there. And it used to be not quite that simple, but almost that simple when you're Kansas. And maybe North Carolina did try the old way. Maybe they were interested in Lloyd or Dusty May. That's the old way was you're UNC and Dusty May's your coach. Tommy Lloyd's your coach.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Donovan, who at least is a champion in college, but he's your coach. And instead, they're like, hey, it's not that easy anymore. So either we got to go lower on the list than we want to in the college ranks, or we're bringing an NBA coach and we see the way this goes.
I mean,
it's a fascinating hire either way.
Yeah, I think I like it in a way because obviously he brings that championship pedigree, winning as many games as he did. Also, just coaching the best player in the NBA and knowing how to manage those sorts of things. Plus, obviously, he's a great basketball coach. The relationship with the athletes, I think, is one of the more intriguing parts, obviously, because in the NBA, you're not as involved with them from a personal standpoint as you are from the college standpoint. I think in some ways. Obviously, you're dealing with the communication with agents and all that other stuff as well. But you've got the parents involved more so in college and in the experience of having visits and showing them around. Like I think you can have a GM, but ultimately, I still think the coach has a large role in recruiting the players. Not to say that they don't have as much as they used to, but I think that there's still a role there. Ultimately, I'm going to play for Michael Malone. I'm not going to play for what you're saying the program is. Like, I want to talk to Mike Malone. Like, I want to do that. Where, in the NBA process, I don't know how different it is, but a player's just going to go where the player is. I'm sure there's communications there, but it's not necessarily with the head coach directly.
It's a money game, a lot of more than it's recruiting now in some way. Sometimes it is just the highest bidder, but there's a mix, right?
Yeah, it depends on, honestly, it depends on what Mike Malone wants to do. Like, because, again, Tom Izzo, he ain't getting the best guys in the recruiting classes necessarily. He's not getting the best players in the portal. Like, you're going there and you're going to fit his style. Like, I think that's what we're seeing with Ben McCollum. That's what you see with Dan Hurley in a way. Like, who he recruits and how he runs his system and how he runs his program will be fascinating, I think, because he's never been a head coach in college. So we have no idea how he's going to do things, which I think makes it actually kind of exciting.
It's exciting. It's extremely risky, and they're taking a big swing totally. and gamble again, because they fired Hubert Davis, who was in a national title game 4 years ago. And I understand that he did not make the tournament 1 year as well, and they have had early exits, but you leave for that. So everybody expects at a place in North Carolina, the next guy is going to be better. And Michael Malone absolutely could be, but man, it's risky. It could also be a complete disaster. So, and you fall off even further than where you're at as a program. It's the first time also North Carolina has hired, if in fact this becomes finalized, that they've hired outside the UNC ties for it'd be the first in 3/4 of a century.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard, Drew, because they didn't, North Carolina is not the kind of program that wants to wait around, because Hubert Davis he was not like a total disaster there, right?
No,
he got deep,
not at all.
He got deep in a hurry, and then things kind of fell apart, which has kind of been a similar story.
The best player got injured this year. They were really good until he got hurt, yeah.
Yeah, so, it's not like it all fell apart. So, what do you think Michael Malone offers you that Hubert Davis didn't, right? And I guess for them, they must be thinking that there's just a management element of, we just pay players now. We don't recruit them. We pay them. Because that's you have to think that, I think, if you hire a guy like Malone. Because, otherwise it doesn't make sense. He hasn't been in college basketball since when I was in middle school. And I'm old. So, that's saying something. He hasn't been around that sport in a long time. And so, like, for him, I'm sure it's appealing. He wasn't coaching. He was stuck on the sidelines just doing, like, TV work. And his daughter goes to UNC, making a little more family time, right? There's plenty of appeals for him. His daughter plays volleyball, reportedly, at UNC.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I kind of get it from his end. From UNC's, you're right. It is a crazy hire on paper in the sense that, like, nobody saw this coming 2 weeks ago, a month ago. If I had told you Michael Malone
today, this is. Yeah.
When's the last time? I mean, unless I just wasn't paying attention, I didn't even realize he was a candidate for this job.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think also one of the intriguing things is we've seen Illinois do it. Wisconsin's done it to a degree. Other programs, the international European scouting stuff. Obviously, he's got ties to how they got Nikola Jokic and that area of the world. We see guys get brought over all the time now. Arizona has Karchenkov.
Yeah,
straight over from Europe and from Asia. And
it's
I mean,
a benefit.
You're getting so many more of those guys where that also playing a role into this and how he puts together his roster, I think, is going to be fascinating because I'm sure he's got those connections over there, whether it's Serbia, whether it's just Spain, France, Germany, some of those other places. We see more of that now. I mean, is that a direction that they also look in terms of bringing in those guys with quote-unquote experience? That's where I think the fascinating thing is him building, what does the roster look like?
Yeah, no, it is. Nobody knows. I think there's a chance that those connections could help. I don't think suddenly they're building their roster off of international prospects. Like, you know what I mean? Like, will they have an international player moving forward? Or maybe
no,
so.
I think there's
I
more
don't
guys
think,
now that are 2, 3, 4 players on their roster that are from international.
I know, but
waters.
I don't think at a place in North Carolina suddenly out of their starting 5, 3 of them are going to be international players. I don't think at a place like North Carolina that's how you build your program. They're still getting the top
McDonald's
tier.
All-Americans.
I'm not saying that it can't be a useful tool for him, but I will bet you quite a bit of money that North Carolina, fast forward 5 years from now, we're not going to be saying, man, their program is just consistently guys from overseas. They don't have McDonald's All-Americans anymore or anything like that. I just don't buy that.
Hey, if they're winning games, it doesn't matter.
But this is not St. Mary's. This is not Gonzaga. I mean, that's the only thing. It's still North Carolina. They have 5 guys they have 4 or 5 guys that are all international?
Yes.
They have 3, I thought.
I think they have 3.
They're not North Carolina, though.
I understand that, but if the talent's there, who cares?
Well, sure, there's talent there. I just don't think programs like you know this better than anybody with
Everybody's
college football. Like how you build a program at Tulane is not how Alabama's building the program. And just because they can have access to it, there's still core roots of your program. And at a place like North Carolina or Kentucky or Kansas, those places are never going to have 80% of their roster international.
No, I know. I know. I'm not saying, nobody has 80%. I didn't say 80% of the roster.
3 of the starting.
But I think it absolutely. I think we would
3 of 5 is
60%.
3 out of 15 is.
Well, I've done the starting 5. Starting 5.
But honestly, I think we'd be silly to know that he has that.
Oh, I think he'll have. I agree with you. He's going to have international players. We just differ on like how many. I'm with you. I think that is the pipeline that Malone could definitely look at. I just don't think at a blue blood like North Carolina, that's going to be like the foundation principle of his entire method of coaching. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on the system. Because again, you're dealing with young players, and if they don't want to buy into the system and buy into this, and I can go and get guys who've been playing with grown men since 16, maybe that's a factor that we're not maybe taking into equation as much.
I think what I like about the general, we don't have to speculate necessarily on how he's going to recruit. It's just from a major power program perspective. Like, Alex should be interested in how this experiment goes. He's a Kansas fan. They're going to need new coach in a couple of years. Assuming, right, Bill Self's only got a few years left in this. It is a new approach. We have seen Duke do the coach in waiting. We've seen Kansas mostly just stick with. Kansas hasn't had to choose a new coach in a long time. They haven't had to do it different from the old ways, which is choose the best coach available from one of the best universities that isn't a blue blood and go that route. UNC to this point has been following the traditional model, the model that every blue blood did, which is you just go steal from anybody who isn't a blue blood and you take the best guy off of the top of the pile. If this works for North Carolina, I think if I were Kansas, I'd be far more tempted by maybe the game really has changed. And all this coach has to do is coach. Their job, front office, that's a different job now.
Okay, you should hire a GM now anyway.
They should, but maybe just on the coaching end of, it's a different job and the coach is just a coach now. And in the NBA, your job is, but at the same time, I don't think these universities want to just run these guys out because NBA coaches, you can be coach of the year You can win a championship 3 years ago for the Nuggets and be out of a job. They run those guys out quick. You're not talking to the people. You're not communicating the same way. They run them out faster.
I think it's still different, though, with the college game where you're not – like, I understand the concept of just letting the coach. I get it. But when you're dealing with the parents and stuff like that, too, because that's still very much a part of it, I think it's – like, the coaches travel to go to the games still. Like, you don't have NBA coaches going to college basketball games very often, if ever. It's the scouts, and they trust it. Like, I don't think we're going to get to that point where Bill Self is not going to be traveling to Shawnee Mission North to watch somebody play because he's interested in them. He's just going to send the scout. I think that always is going to be a part of the college experience for a head coach. Like there are very little days off. Like the recruiting trail, I think that's something Bill Belichick has learned and has gotten a little bit better at actually over the course of this last calendar year, is learning the way the college game is. And yes, there's some parallels to the NFL in the way that the sport is run now, but it's still college football, and there's aspects of it that he never would get in the NFL that he has to get in college. And I think in basketball, it's the same way. And somebody pointed out too, Jacques Vaughn, this concept though of NBA connections makes even more sense now that Jacques Vaughn could be that guy going forward when Bill Self is done.
Yeah, that was how we started the conversation. Yep. Is this the new trend? We're going to find out. And North Carolina is willing to take a big swing and see if it is the new trend and they're ahead of the curve, or we're going to sit here in 4 years and say, oh gosh, what a terrible. I have no idea. That's the fun part of it.
It's funny. It's like, but I do think it could have a direct impact on who Kansas hires. As in,
possibly,
2 years and he's an 8 seed 1 year and he missed the tournament. Like it fails, right? It objectively fails with him. Or they're a 7 seed twice and they don't make it past they don't even make it to the second weekend. If you're Kansas and you'd be like, maybe the NBA guy's not the move. Maybe we need to make sure that one of these guys. I do think it's harder to steal coaches than it's ever been. I think taking a coach off of another Power 4 program is harder than it has ever been. Like at certain levels you can get them, but I don't think it's as easy as it used to be for Kansas to go shopping or UNC to go shopping for coaches and just like have a short list. And maybe one person tells you no, but the other 4 would tell you yes immediately. So go take your pick. I don't think it's quite as easy as it used to be, but fascinating. It was definitely not the higher I saw comment.
I know we don't talk NBA here in this market really, but it is not good news for some NBA teams who thought he was going to clearly be like the top coaching candidate. He was now he chose college. So some of those NBA teams thought they were going to have a chance to hire a guy that's won a championship as their head coach next year. And nope, they're going to have to pivot in a different direction. So there's a big trickle-down effect in sports, but fascinating hire if you're just joining us. Michael Malone is going to be the next head men's basketball coach at North Carolina. There is even some people that texted in and said, who? I think that is the reaction for a lot of people if you don't follow the NBA. Yeah. But he's a very, very successable NBA coach. But he's been on ESPN for a year or two.
But again, you have to be watching NBA to be hearing from him.
So we'll see, man.
Yeah, it's different.
There's a big domino, and it doesn't cause a college opening. So unless there's an assistant that leaves, so there's not a coaching carousel trickle-down effect here.
Yeah, it's not like Nate Oates took UNC, and now somebody's got to take Alabama. Now somebody's got, none of that today. Just pluck the NBA guy off of the ESPN set and see what happens. So slightly different energy, at least based on that, which I do find interesting. Let's talk a little bit about Chiefs. Then we can talk some Royals coming up in the 1:30 time slot. Obviously, the Royals had a disappointing homestand at finishing 500, or at least a mediocre homestand. And their next 3 games are all bizarre because they got a 5:10 first pitch tonight right here on 96.5 The Fan. Then back-to-back day games. They're going to first pitch at 12:10 Kansas City time.
That's crazy.
The next 2 days before they come back home against Chicago. So at least a little bit different. But obviously over the weekend, you and I got different surprising news, which was the NFL had already decided on Rashee Rice. The surprise part was that the NFL had already decided. For a league that took 2 years to suspend him, it felt like, for the driving accident, this one seemed like it came relatively quick, all things considered, even before the NFL draft.
Yeah, the difference, as you know, is, though, that was a criminal situation. Yep. This was an Instagram post and a civil lawsuit, and the league said they didn't have enough evidence to say he violated the personal conduct policy. We don't know what evidence they had or did not have. We don't know what cooperation they did or did not have from his ex-girlfriend. I don't know. All I know from a football end, it is surprising to see that this, in fact, was resolved 3 weeks before the NFL draft. And for the Chiefs, from a football end, it's a huge boost for them. I don't think they were necessarily going to change their should change their draft plan based on this news. But if they would have got the same news, Cody, 3 weeks early before the draft, and yesterday or Friday, we would have found out he was going to be suspended or something. Well, then it would have had a drastic impact if they would have been without Rashee Rice for a whole season. Now that you know that you have him, I don't know if it changes your target. If you're the Chiefs and you like one of the top receivers, and we don't know if they do, but Tate or Lemon,
you kind of have to
or whoever, at 29 further in the first round, I still don't think you should pivot because Rashee Rice is on his final year of his rookie contract, and you and I don't think the Chiefs are re-signing him. So you do need not only help in 26 still at the wide receiver spot, but you certainly need help in 2027 at wide receiver if Rice is not back. And we don't think he's going to.
I guess that's always the tough part is that's why I think people were asking us this weekend, and we had talked about it earlier in the show, which is, would you entertain a trade for him? In the sense that you and I agree. It feels like a low probability he's still here long-term. Even if he could be here long-term and you and I had the choice, we wouldn't extend him. Even if it was a short extension this season, while he's still cheaper, I would be hesitant and very leery about that possibility. But certainly if he goes out and has a big year, hell, even 1,000 yards would certainly make him more productive than Wan'Dale Robinson's first 3 years, or 4 years, which means you'd be staring down the barrel of at minimum 4 for 80 to sign a guy like Rashee Rice, minimum, and probably more based on what you're getting. And so, if all of those things are a probability, I get why people are saying, if you think all that, then why not just trade him? And just go draft heavy at wide receiver. Take whatever pick you get for Rashee Rice. The problem is maximum, I think you would get for Rice as a third. Does anyone think it's more? Drew, do you think it's more?
I think it's a conditional third. I don't know if knowing that
you get more than a third. That feels optimistic.
Yeah, and I think he's more valuable to the Chiefs than he is for any other team. If you're the Chiefs with their wide receiver room, knowing that he's on a rookie contract, and in the future is going to, if he has the year that we think he could have, he's going to eventually get a big payday somewhere. Yeah. I don't think the draft value is that great. You're better off just retaining him. You're not getting, let's say you even got the third round pick that you're suggesting. You're not getting the quality of player Rashee Rice as far as the impact in 2026 at bare minimum. Yeah. There's no player drafting in the third round that's going to have a bigger impact than what Rashee Rice will have.
Maybe pick 9, and if they just immediately burst onto the scene. Because Rice had a big impact year one.
But I'm just saying the compensation you would get back, even best case scenario for Rice, a third round pick this offseason, you're not getting a player that's going to have that kind of impact. And they can also just play the comp pick formula. Have him play this year. He has a great year. Hopefully helps you win a lot of games.
Gives him $100 million.
And then next offseason, if you do move on from him, somebody else, pays him, Cody, then you're getting a potential third round comp pick anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I think that's more than fair. As in, if they pay him $100, $120 million, you probably are in the high-end comp pick formula rate, and you can just figure it out. And if you're worried about the comp pick not being enough, there is the option of tag and trade, although admittedly, a tag would cost like $27 million this year.
27.8 or something.
So maybe $28, $29 million next year. And that's a risk that you might not find a trade partner, or the draft pick compensation might be bad if you do. Because they're not going to just pay that guy $28 million. They're going to have to pay him 3 for 100, or 3 for, not 100 maybe, but 3 for 90, and run themselves into trouble. There are currently less than 10 wide receivers who make over $30 million a year. But if you just saw the jump in cap numbers for running back, for guard, and you don't think that the next big name free agent wide receiver who hits the open market is not going to get paid big time, they will. Hell, we just saw a wide receiver extension last week. And people think, I guess maybe not now. I don't know what the deal is. That Puka Nacua was next up on the list of potential extensions. I can't speak for that now because obviously he's admitted that he's in rehab and there's all this other stuff going on. So who the hell knows if they'll pay him as soon as maybe people originally thought before all that news broke last week. But still, they're kind of in a weird spot. At this point, it's a play it out situation. But it's also even if he stays out of trouble for a full year and is great, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, in the back of your head, won't you still wonder if this is a good decision to put $100 million in his pocket, to put $80 million in his pocket?
No, I wouldn't trust him.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But I think he's actually.
A year's not enough. You think he will?
I think he's having a massive 2026 season. I really do. I think he's going to have a huge year. And fans, not saying all, but fans that are right now saying not to bring him back. And again, I wouldn't either. I think in January you will have a lot of fans saying, well, hey, second chances, as he comes off of a 1,200-yard, 8-touchdown Pro Bowl type of season.
Yeah.
We've seen this play out before.
That's because, no, you're right. And then, yes, fans
I
will
don't
be
think
ready
the
to pay.
Chiefs will view it that way, but we'll see. Big news for them, though, that they know Rice will be available week 1. Massive. Up next, we're going to get to what's trending. Then I want to talk more about the Royals, who are in Cleveland tonight. They begin a series against the Guardians. What do we make of the first homestand of the season, including 2 glaring issues already?
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hopefully for much more normal reasons, maybe you're looking for a new career. And that career could be in IT. AI is a big part of where this is going. Technology continues to change, and that's where Centric Training Gold can get you in that new career and get you trained for that new career.
Yeah, they're going to work with you through the entire process. So, yes, there's a 4-month program, and as little as 4 months, you can have a brand new career, but they also are going to help you post-graduation from the program, right? They're going to help you with interview prep, help you get in contact with employers in the Kansas City area. This is not a situation where you're going to have to move outside of Kansas City. There's so many job opportunities, and they've got the relationships that are going to help you. They've been a trusted tech training and solutions partner for more than 30 years.
So if you're curious about it, find out for yourself. Go to Centric.com, talk to our guy Russ, and find out what that new career in IT could look like for you.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. Whoa!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Learn more at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026. Taxes, fees, extra.
DQ presents the Blizzard Double Flip Deal. For a limited time, when you buy 1 Blizzard treat, you get a second for just 99 cents. That's 2 Blizzards, 2 spoons, 2 flavors, and 2 flips. So don't miss out on the Blizzard Double Flip Deal, available only for a limited time and happening now at DQ. Because the only thing better than a Blizzard treat is a second Blizzard treat for just 99 cents. It's a deal to flip for. The Blizzard Double Flip Deal. Participation may vary.
Had enough of your sportsbook holding back on the rewards? Fanatics Sportsbook opens a lane to a world of exclusive perks. Use Fan Cash to step up your tunnel walk with authentic NBA jerseys and vintage fits. Be there for the biggest moments with game tickets and rub shoulders with NBA greats through meetups and Fanatics experiences. Make the switch and get access to a highlight reel of rewards with Fanatics Sportsbook. Winning hits different here. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-522-4700. MD, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Offer not available in all states. Terms apply. See Fanatics Sportsbook app.
Hello, Kansas City. Bank of America, in partnership with Visa, invites you to a FIFA World Cup 26 watch party. Open an eligible Bank of America checking account in participating financial centers only for an opportunity to reserve 2 complimentary tickets while supplies last. Experience special musical guests, games, giveaways, food, and more, all at a legendary venue. Learn more at BofA.com/BofA Visa Watch Party. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 26. Bank of America NA, member FDIC. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
Look, we all have those moments where we have to say no. No to a round of golf, no to a long walk, or even just no to getting out of the chair because your knees or your back aren't cooperating. But as we head into vacation season, think about the people waiting for you to say yes. Your family, your friends, they want the real you back, the one who isn't sidelined by chronic pain. I want to help you turn that corner. At QC Kinetics, they specialize in regenerative treatments that get you back in the game without surgery or without endless recovery months. Be honest with yourself for a second. Does joint pain keep you up at night? Are you at the end of your rope leaning on daily meds just to get through a shift at work? If you're nodding your head, you're exactly who QC Kinetics helps every single day. The best part, it's done right in their office with no downtime. So call them today for that free consultation. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. They're located off 435 in State Line or in Gladstone, 816-412-6299.
Foley Rental is your locally owned equipment rental store for commercial, industrial, farm, and residential projects with a large fleet of aerial lifts, telehandlers, generators, trench shoring, and temperature control equipment, plus cat skid steers, excavators, loaders, and attachments, all inspected and maintained by over 500 certified technicians, so you stay safe and on schedule. Foley Rental, committed to you from the ground up. Call 855-RENT-FOLEY or visit FoleyRental.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Whoa. Okay, this one says you get a free phone if you switch. Hey, this one also says you get a free phone if you switch.
Yeah, they all do, hon.
Wait. The T-Mobile one says families saved over $3,700 versus the other big guys in the past 5 years. And their experience plans have Netflix included, plus a year of Dash Pass by DoorDash.
Hang on, let me see that. And a 5-year price guarantee? Oh yeah, we're switching.
That's what I'm talking about. Do we clap now, or?
I'm thinking half-half.
At T-Mobile, get savings that keep stacking up. That's value you can feel every day. Switch now at T-Mobile.
Savings based on Harris X billing snapshots from Q3 2021 to Q4 2025 among accounts with 3+ voice lines compared to AT&T and Verizon, excluding discounts, credits, and optional charges. See harrisx.com/T-Mobile. Price guarantee on talk, text, and data. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com.
Replacing your HVAC doesn't have to be an emergency. Plan now, pay less later. For a limited time, take advantage of an HVAC replacement with financing starting as low as $149 a month. More options, better timing, and less stress for your home.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti. What's trending is brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, trusted in Kansas City since 1994. One contractor, all things parking lots.
Number one on what's trending the news in the last half hour or so. Michael Malone, former Denver Nuggets NBA champion head coach, who's now been doing TV work, is now going to be the next head coach at North Carolina for their men's basketball program, according to Pete Thamel. Big-time hire, big swing, definitely some risk involved, out-of-the-box type of hire, however you want to describe it. Pretty stunning. We know they were interested in an NBA type of coach, though, because Billy Donovan reportedly was a top candidate. He's with the Chicago Bulls, but he had said he would not really talk to North Carolina until after the NBA season. The Bulls also expressed publicly they would like to retain Billy Donovan, so maybe this was the pivot. Who knows? But Michael Malone going to go coach college basketball for one of the top elite programs in college basketball history.
Crazy. Next up on what's trending, speaking of college basketball, national title game tonight. It'll be Michigan, who worked over Arizona over the weekend, taking on UConn. That game will take place in the home of Drew Nixon, Indianapolis, Indiana, who also might be in the running for the Bears, by the way, according to at least Adam Schefter earlier today.
At least the state of Indiana.
At least the state of Indiana, not Indianapolis. Sorry, right on the fringe. It'll still be close to Chicago. Don't get me wrong. But national title game tonight, 7:50 Central Time tip-off.
Perfect. Just like how you like it, Cody. You like those late starts.
Oh, it's gonna get get done at the same time as the Chiefs Sunday night game. It'll be all right.
Nah, I don't. Drew, you're still young. You're still young. You still think that staying up till 2 in the morning,
Cody's takes
listening to lyrics, is a good idea.
And now look, I do think it's a late. I do think it's a late start. It's kind of ridiculous, but today, Cody, man, you're unhappy about the late start. You're complaining about musical performances.
I'm going to settle into my old age.
Yeah,
I start going gray this week, and we're just going to...
Oh, that game will be done by 10:30 at the very latest.
for me.
I'm guessing one-shining moments at 11 o'clock. or 10:55.
It's fine. I wasn't watching that anyway.
I'm not going to watch it either. It'd be okay.
Catch the highlight of that. You can catch the highlight of that.
Hey, I'm not watching like a
Well, it's on
reruns.
YouTube. It'll be on YouTube right away or Twitter.
Nah.
Elsewhere, the Royals are in action tonight. They kick off the road trip against Cleveland. Michael Massey recalled off the IL there from AAA. Nick Lofton sent back down. The Royals are 4-5. 5:10 first pitch tonight right here on 96.5. The Fan. Vern's on Deck show is at 4. It's Michael Wacha against Tanner Bybee. And tomorrow, don't forget, they changed the schedule because of the cold weather expected in Cleveland. So tomorrow is not an evening game. The Royals will be on the air tomorrow at noon.
Be a weird one.
Back-to-back day games will be at noon tomorrow and noon on Wednesday.
Yeah. Next up on What's Trending, the KC Current got a win over the weekend, 2-1. Temwa back with the team, defeating Gotham FC. Had been kind of a slow start for the Current, so a good win for them over the weekend. And Sporting KC fell to Real Salt Lake 3-1 in their matchup as well.
Has it happened yet elsewhere on What's Trending? You've been keeping an eye on Artemis.
Oh, they're by the moon.
Flyby.
So they've gone by the moon, but they've not circled back around, if that makes sense. That's the bigger of the moments. They have set a record for the longest distance from Earth. They're like 250,000 miles away from Earth, which is crazy, I guess, in its own right.
Is it because they're just dumb question? We've landed on the moon. How is this the farthest we've been from Earth to the moon?
Just a different orbital pattern.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that they did it to like set a record, but their orbital pattern will take them further from...
Because wouldn't the moon be further?
Yes.
But we've landed on the moon.
They're past the moon.
Gotcha.
They've flown past the moon, and they will circle back around.
And why have we flown past the moon? Just for fun?
That's part of the way they do the orbital patterns. They also discovered 2 new craters. They're going to name one after, I think, somebody's unfortunately passed away wife, and one after the spacecraft.
Who gets to name this?
Well, they make an official request in there. They're like, hey, yo, we found a new crater.
Wait, the astronauts?
Yeah. And they're like, we'd like to name it this. Is that cool?
Okay.
I'm assuming NASA gets the official approval, but I think if you're in the damn ship, you get to name it.
Okay.
Like, normal, this feels like normal space procedure, you know? It's the same as you discover an asteroid, Gold. You get to name it. Like, I think if I'm on the damn thing looking at it,
do these
I should get to name it.
astronauts just have a map of what we thought the moon looked like, and they're like, wait a second, there's an extra crater over here. Like, what?
Yeah, that's exactly it. They got the map from the previous moon mission in 1972.
Okay.
Probably not exactly the most high-res photo of all time. They said, different crater, we'd like to name it.
How do we know they're not wrong?
That they found it? They're looking at it. What
No,
do
but
you
how
mean?
did I didn't read the map wrong? Actually, that's the crater we already knew about.
I think they're pretty good at those. They got that stuff pretty dialed in.
Okay.
They got some pretty smart people over at
Okay.
NASA
Mm-hmm.
knocking that out. I do think it'd be crazy. Like, you think about, like, Drew, like when somebody makes their major league debut and you're the dad, you're like, wow, my kid's in the bigs. What's it like to have your kid in a spaceship 250 million miles from Earth?
Probably pretty nerve-wracking, I would say, for the parent.
I would think the initial part's nerve-wracking. This part would seem less
Yeah, but they still got to
nerve-wracking.
get. The nerve-wracking part is when they re-enter too.
Yeah,
that's obviously
that's
a very
true. Yeah.
serious.
Do you watch every single second? You just take off work and you're just like glued to the live.
I'm sure they're locked
live
in.
feed.
Yeah, I'm sure they're locked in.
Someone says incrementalism. They have to test the missions slowly stretching the distance out further. Normally, is like missions continue. That's the case, but I mean, they just haven't been this far in a really long time. So we'll see. The like super cool close-up shots. I don't think those have taken place yet. I think that's supposed to be coming up here soon.
Here in like 8 minutes, you said. You said
Originally, it was
1:45,
1:45 was the scheduled time. I haven't checked if NASA's changed that time. I imagine they run a pretty tight ship.
I would presume the projections are pretty accurate, yeah.
Pun intended, huh?
Yeah. Did you mean to say that?
No, but it's fine. It
Run a
plays.
tight ship, really? Really?
That's just a normal saying.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But again, they'll make their closest approach to the moon, I think, ever.
They've been up there for 4 days, almost 5 days, I guess.
Yeah, then they got to shoot back
They're
around.
250,000 miles from Earth.
Currently, I think at last they sent out is 252,752. That was the furthest anybody had ever been. The previous record set by Apollo 13, which was about 4,000 miles. So I guess crushed it. They crushed it by 4,000 miles. That feels like a good. Is that a good amount? When we're talking about 250,000, feels incremental. Space stuff is cool, man. If they really
it's fascinating.
If they hit their date of 2020, I'm telling you right now. If in 2028 they go to the moon and land on it, I'm not working that day. I want to go see them land on the moon. I'm not sitting here watching it with you two. Don't even appreciate it. I got to sit here and watch it on this tiny TCL TV or whatever the hell this thing is. I want the big screen. They're landing on the moon, Drew. I want the big screen.
I
want to go to a movie theater.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually had movie theaters.
This is another thing that's making me sound old today, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just yet one of many things that has made me sound like a million years old.
I would not be surprised if they actually put it in movie theaters, though. I do think that might be a thing.
Did they do that when they? I mean, I guess they didn't have a way to live stream. What am I talking about?
Drive-in movie theaters.
Put in the IMAX.
There's replay.
Hell yeah.
Put in the IMAX.
Get Christopher Nolan's ass up there. Put that thing in the IMAX. Then show me this thing a couple days later.
I wouldn't be surprised if for the actual landing, there's like a documentary and everything like that. Like they did go further in depth and everything.
Yeah, there'll be a Netflix doc on this one in a year, right?
Mm-hmm. Probably in some way, shape, or form. I bet
it's the first time since 1972. Like I'm gonna assume, whatever thing we want to figure out, they'll be around. But live stream's up. Don't leave this show. But if you
Someone
want,
says I've got some coastal property in Oak Grove, Missouri. Since you guys believe in anything, LOL.
Believe in the moon?
We've got a person that doesn't think the moon is real. Okay. Right.
Tell me the things you believe in. Are you a flat earther or just not the moon's real? I want to know what level of.
Someone says they're filming it at Universal Studios.
See, that person I think is joking. The other person, they sound like they're believing it.
Yeah.
Someone says show it on the sphere, like on the inside.
Oh, jeez.
Holy cow, that would be awesome.
Out in Vegas, that would be very cool at the Sphere.
Man, there was almost a price tag. It could be more expensive than the Backstreet Boys tickets we were looking at, Gold. And I'd at least be tempted. If we go back to Vegas in August, we got to go to the Sphere, don't we? You and I have been to Vegas like 4 times together in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We got to go to the Sphere at some point.
Yeah. Someone says, didn't know you had flat earth people working there. No, we were reading a text. That was a text we got in. That's not an opinion.
Yeah,
that was a text we read. That's not the opinion of any of us.
Do you think that person also thinks that pigeons are just government drones or?
Oh, the birds
some
are.
of the other birds aren't real. They're just drones.
Oh, boy.
It was pointed out over on Twitch by Legend.
Do you guys want to know what is in August? Oh, they don't have it.
The Wizard of Oz thing.
Oh, yeah,
that's
not
too on
in
the
August.
nose as you as a Kansas resident to go see
The furthest it goes down is June. They actually haven't even booked
anything yet.
There's nothing for August.
So we don't know yet?
Yeah, the furthest is June 27th, so we don't know. But yeah, a lot of it is like Gold said, The Wizard of Oz. Kenny Chesney's there 1, 2, 3 nights.
Now people are asking a bunch of questions.
Oh, we've opened it up now on the text line. A can of worms has been
only
opened.
Imagine.
Oh, yeah. You can imagine. Absolutely. You can imagine, Drew.
We even got a get bent text.
Oh, yeah. The moon landing was
Dusty
fake,
Likens
guys. Get bent.
Is that Dusty?
Mm-hmm. Someone says, Cody, how come there are no stars, though, in the live stream?
Because, and I've looked this up before, and especially on this one, it's because stars are pretty dim. Like you're in space and stars are pretty dim, and the camera settings are keeping them dim so that they can capture the other shots that they're trying to get. So they have a higher shutter speed and low light sensitivity in order to get the shot. So
there we go.
This could have been Professor Tap today, but it'll just be for this moment.
The communications professor is giving us a
why you can't see
lesson.
Someone says, doesn't Drew's wife think the moon is fake? We've gone over that. Used to.
Correct.
She's grown. People grow.
The actual moon. The actual moon itself is real to her. It is the moon landing is highly suspect.
Does she think this one's real? Maybe she thinks they didn't do it the first time. That was a soundstage. But does she think they're really in space now?
Yeah, I think she believes they're in space. But I think when we get to the actual landing in 2 years or whenever the heck it's supposed to be, that will be the interesting.
Now some of you are just telling on yourself on the
equation
text line. Some of you are just telling on yourself now. Okay.
What'd they say?
Someone says NASA's a waste of time and money. You're just telling on yourself at this point.
I mean, lots of things in the government are.
Let's move on. Let's
talk about our biggest governmental wastes. Or do you want to talk Royals?
913-586-7965. All right, go ahead. Let's talk some Royals baseball. They do, as we said, have a series tonight. They open up against Cleveland. But 9 games in, and I know it's 9 games in, the bullpen and the lack of your star pieces contributing enough at the plate. Those are the two big glaring issues 9 games in. The bullpen is a problem right now. Doesn't mean it can't be fixed, but it's a problem. And offensively, while Bobby Wood Jr., I'm sure will figure it out, he hasn't been playing at his typical MVP type level to start the season. But if this was a 9-game stretch from June 15th to June 25th, nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
But this is all we have right now.
It is. And look, I saw today's lineup. Somebody said, right players, wrong order. Like they think Cags should be hitting higher than Carter Jensen already. And I mentioned twice this weekend, Cags hit a little higher in the lineup. Hit 5th one day, hit 6th another. He has largely been at 7th every time he's been in the order. He had a bad day at the office yesterday and looked uncomfortable against the lefty, although it is Tanner Bybee, who is a right-handed pitcher on the mound for the Guardians today. Some of this is, in order for this season to go really well, by the end of the year, I do hope Carter Jensen and Caglione are hitting high in the order together. But because of their insistence to go lefty, righty, it is hard to get Caglione regularly, or Carter Jensen, both, high in the order together. Because then you invite a team to go Vinny Pasquantino lefty, Salvi righty, then lefty. You invite a team to have a strong left-handed pitcher and just save them for that part of the order every single time you get around to it. And I don't want to, as you pointed out, want to hurl any more pressure on Caglione. I almost don't want to point out that he's off to a good start. Or point out that he had a bad day. You know what? And not that he's listening. Just keep doing what you're doing. To this point, it worked, and I don't want to risk it. But their problem is that Bobby, Caglione, and Vinny have 0 home runs, that they're not hitting well with runners in scoring position again, and that the bullpen's been bad. And so those 3 things, they'll get you to 4 and 5. At least the same thing as last year. Starting pitching won't let you get too far behind. It's overall too good, even though I understand the starting pitching ERA is up because Avila had a rough start on Saturday and because Bubic had a rough start to the game and overall ERA yesterday. But, I can still see how the pieces fit. I'm not going to panic after 9 games. That'd be kind of crazy.
I will say the left field is
been frustrating. Left field's been the one that I would listen on.
Center field, when Isbell's been out there, and he was not out there yesterday, Lane Thomas was, but when Isbell is off to a very nice start, you mentioned Caglione, even though Marte was playing right field yesterday and Cags was DHing. Left field, we've seen Collins. We saw Nick Lofton, who's now back down at AAA. And still, I understand the criticism where it's like, hey, the guy that you sent down for Michael Massey was Nick Lofton. We all knew that was going to be the case. He started 3 games in the first 9. And he's the first guy that you sent back down anyway. And Nick Lofton was not good in the field yesterday. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been sent down. My point is more of the guy that was the first to get sent down was the guy that you found a way to get in the lineup 3 times, though, in the first 9 games.
Yeah, that part to me, and that's the part of the numbers game that frustrates me, is that if you're going to have this many lefties in your lineup, well, then you got to trust it. And if it's going to be, and this is the other part, Lane Thomas or Nick Lofton or Isaac Collins, hey, if none of you kicked Michael Massey out of the job, I'll tell you that much. Michael Massey wasn't going to start today anyway. It's a righty. They were always going to play either the switch hitter right or Kyle Isbell. They weren't going to put Lane Thomas in center and then do that. It's a righty. Michael, well, maybe it would, I guess. But either way, first game up, they didn't start him. So, but nobody threatened Michael Massey out of the job. He comes up, the next game he starts. Let's say it's tomorrow. He starts the 12-10 game. If he hits, consistently hits, job's his. Because to me right now, the biggest concern is nobody looks like they can play defense at left field. All of you at some point were supposed to be at least, Lane Thomas was supposed to be able to play center. He's looked rough in left when he's been out there. Collins looks uncomfortable. Everybody looks uncomfortable in left field. How is Caglione the best looking outfielder in the corner? That man started playing left field 6 months ago. You can't be getting outplayed by him. And Kauffman should be a slightly more friendly park in that way. It's just been an interesting start. I just felt kind of blah about it. And, the schedule hasn't helped. They're going to get back-to-back day games. Schedule's all screwy. They're home and a road 3 games at a time.
Yeah, but that's just...
I just got no momentum for this season.
We're only 9 games in. But, the schedule thing, I told you, this year, I more than any other year, I don't want to hear any excuse. This team... expectation is to win the Central, to compete for the Central, certainly to be a playoff team. That is absolutely where the bar is at for this team. And I don't care if 11 guys or 5 guys played in the WBC and ended up throwing off their timing or whatever. You're playing the high stakes game of that, and now you're on game 5, now 9, soon to be 10 of 162. Yeah. I don't want to hear any of those excuses, though. That's where I'm I just don't care. So you're right. The schedule's been wonky.
I just had my enjoyment of it. Yeah.
Oh, as a fan, it's been weird and the timing and all that. And tomorrow, as you said, it's now a day game, which is bizarre because of the weather. It's just, I do actually think Michael Massey, if he can stay healthy, perhaps could provide them something in left field. But the big question with him is always, Cody, is he still available a month from now?
Yeah, it's more than fair. And can any of these guys, because the guys in the middle of the order who aren't hitting, do I think Vinny's going to hit 0 home runs this year? And Bobby Wood Jr. has 0 extra base hits, 9 games.
That's stunning.
Do you think he's going to go? Do I think he's going to go another 9 games without an extra base hit? No, probably have one tonight. Vern, if you need me for the on deck show, I'll predict
there you go,
Bobby
Cody.
Wood Jr. to get an extra base hit.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, 2 hits yesterday, but they're both
110.
singles, right?
Yeah. And so, like, I assume at this stage that they'll be okay from the middle of the order part. But it is encouraging me that Jack Caglianone's hitting, that Kyle Isbell's given them far more offensive production. 7, 8, 9 has not been the issue this year like it was last year. And Michael Garcia has continued his very good year and WBC and roll that thing in. Because that's the excuse part, the WBC. You could try to put that on Luinder Avila, who's not built up, or Carlos Estevez, or Vinny, or Bobby, who played late into it. Michael Garcia played just as late, and he's doing fine. Jack Caglianone's had a nice start to the season. He was playing late into it. So it's just like some guys start slow, some guys don't. Some guys get off to slow starts, some don't.
And it's you know,
that's why they're 4 and 5.
This sport, sets itself up to begin, 9-game stretch and everything's overanalyzed because it's all we have. And so, what's the next 9 games look like? Fine. That's why we had the topic last week. When is it actually, quote unquote, fair to have a bigger opinion about what the offense is or isn't? And we both said closer to May, and it's only April 6th. But the concern for me right now, honestly, of everything is more the bullpen. And I know later in the year it's something you can fix, but they really do need Carlos Estevez's velocity to kick back up when he comes back off the IL and be someone that they can count on. And I know you're right. Urseg would be the second guy, and he's not going to be perfect. I mean, he had a bad day yesterday. He's not going to be perfect every single time out, but this bullpen has cost them here as well. There's been a lot of similarities, unfortunately, I think, for Royals fans to last year in the first 9 games, and that's what's a little worrisome.
It is weird. Someone said Kyle Isbell's currently the number 3 overall outfielder in fantasy baseball.
He has the highest batting average in baseball right now.
He won the batting title?
Among qualified hitters, I believe he does, yeah. I think so.
Why don't we make that our bold prediction? Kyle Isbell would win the – I got to say, as good as the season started for him, I still don't think Kyle Isbell's going to win the batting title. But I am very impressed with the way his season started because he's been he's been great. He's been a great player, and he should start every game in center field until he cools off. There's no reason to, shift Lane Thomas or some of these other guys around. But that's the other part. This is the part of baseball that sometimes bothers me. It's the, Starling Marte got to start this weekend. And they were like, well, they had to get him in a game. I was like, did they? They're trying to win games right now. It's been kind of a slow start. Maybe now, maybe when you've won 7 of 8, it's a good time to get Starling Marte some act. It's this forced nature of you don't want to just put somebody in cold and completely throw it away. But because it's the sprint, it's a marathon, not a sprint part of it. There's this balance where you kind of have to accept a little bit of balance. Their lineup today is their current best lineup, I think. Isaac Collins is still the guy I'd rather be playing more. Lane Thomas is not off to a